Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Fake Nerd Podcast. I am Brandon T. McClure. With me, as always, and only today, strangely enough, it is just two people on the Fake Nerd Podcast. You've heard my voice. You've seen my face. Now here is Ben Magnet.
Where did everyone go? Is it just us? Is it just like in the olden days of the Fake Nerd Podcast?
Yes, longtime listeners, longtime watchers will probably remember that we started the show, and then it blossomed out into the show that you now see. But initially, the first two episodes were just myself and Ben, and we are back to that because, frankly, Ryan needed a break. He has a busy work schedule, and things are hectic for him. And Sparks is still on his honeymoon.
Yep. So it's just gonna be the two of us. To be perfectly honest, not to say that that Sparks and Ryan being gone is a bad thing, because it totally isn't. I will say it gives me, sorry for the noise downstairs, it gives me a bit of nostalgia for the fact that it's just you and I doing the show. It's just like some memories have flashbacks, some of them good, some of them not good. Not us doing the show, the other stuff that was going around during that time. So
for people based on behind the scenes stuff, I won't get too into the details of it all, but we were just talking about the early days of the podcast and kind of the rocky start that we had. I will only say, if we had stayed under our original management, we would not be here today.
Not even close. Even this part of my week, this past weekend, yesterday especially, I was at my dungeon master's house because he wanted a board game night with some of his players. So myself and Fanny went, and then he asked myself and Grayson what happened to that past podcast. And let me tell you, when we told him that it was a saga, and we'll tell him after we finish the game, we kind of hurried through the rest of the game so we can give them story time. It was fun.
That's fun. How did your game night go?
It went great. I had a blast.
Good. I'm actually going to talk about D and Dark soon. So why don't we segue nicely? By the way, I was actually really happy. Normally, when it's just two people, if it's just myself or Sparks or Ben and Sparks or any combination of two people, oftentimes we'll just be like, well, let's just skip the show. I'm actually glad, Ben, that you decided not to skip the show this week, because I think this will be a short little palate cleanser. We don't really have a big movie to talk about either. We're talking about Cocaine Bear, so. No,
no, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad.
Or do.
No. Yeah, actually, because when you asked me if we want to do the show, because I had just come back home from seeing Cocaine Bear, I was like, I already saw the movie. I want to talk about it, so let's just go ahead. If I had yet to see the movie, I might have said otherwise. But yeah. Do you want to start with your week, or do you want me to start off with my week?
I want to start with links, Ben.
Oh my God, I forgot about the links.
Because we have a lot of links in the description below. A lot of really fun links in the description below. I'm actually going to talk about the stuff with the network before I get into the more personal stuff, because it's all Ben. So we're going to talk about the stuff from the network. Such as our Cinephiles. Cinephiles, for those of you who missed the big announcement that I do, there's an announcement on Twitter for listeners, on the Twitter and Instagram, for listeners who want to go check that out. Cinephiles is not a new show. It is going to be a new kind of brand. Think Vertigo and DC, that kind of thing. It's we're going to put all of our movie reviews and things like that. So there's a bunch of movie reviews that have dropped on Cinephiles that you can find below, such as our Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania review that is now individually uploaded as a Cinephile, where you can find that in audio and video. Scream 3 and Scriforum. Those are available. You can find those together as one video, one audio episode. Yeah, episode. You can check out both of those down there below. But the big one was that our Scream 5 review is now up individually as a Cinephile. We did not record that as an episode. It was difficult to find the space for it. So it is its own episode, and that's what Cinephiles will be as well. It'll be what we used to call review specials will now be Cinephiles, and so you'll be able to check it out there.
Honestly, Cinephile is a cooler name anyway.
I think so too.
To me, it's like FNP review special. I mean, it is cool, but now that we have the name Cinephile, it's like, wow, that's actually a lot better than what we used to call them.
Yeah, and just kind of giving credit where it's due, because this was Sparks' idea. This was Sparks' idea because we have a lot of things we want to talk about this year, and a lot of things that we want to do in general, and it just kind of gave us the space to do so, and the schedule to do so. And I think it's a really good idea, and you can check it out. It's down below. But yes, our 5 Cream episode, our Scream 5 episode is there. Getting ready for Scream 6. That's next week.
There was a trailer for Scream 6 in my showing of Cocaine Bear, and I will not lie, I was like, man, I'm so glad I saw all the Scream films. Because when Gail was talking to the person on the phone, and she says, "You were like the 10th person to do this," I'm like, yes, because there's only been 9 killers this far. Oh my God. I'm getting all the references. I understand them all.
Yeah, part of that episode, by the way, that 5 Cream episode is a ranking of the killers. We rank all the killers, so that was fun.
Yep.
So yes, audio and video as well. The Fake Nerds Watch audio feed is still going, guys. You can check out. You can Ben's roommates are loud today. You can check out Fake Nerds Watch audio feed. That's linked below. The only thing that really went up from the last time I announced it was our Book of Boba Fett review special. We did that as one episode because that show was awful. You can check it out. What we had to say about the Book of Boba Fett. If you want to know what we thought about everything leading up to the Mandalorian season 3, check that out. We're not sure. Just kind of inside baseball, we're not sure how we're going to be discussing Mandalorian season 3. We will, but we're all kind of like, maybe we wait. I'm not. Did you watch it yet, Ben?
I have, yeah, I have watched it.
I'll wait for your week.
Then. Yeah. Well, I'll talk about it during my week.
So there's that. There's an Animation Station episode. Ryan and Sparks did an Animation Station episode on Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. I will speak for them and say that they really liked the show, and they did a really positive review about it. You can check that out on audio and video in the description below. The Animation Station episodes will now be audio in the Fake Nerd podcast feed. If you haven't caught on yet, there will not be an independent Animation Station feed like there is for Basement Arcade Pause Menu or Conversation or Miscellaneous or Fake Nerds Watch. We have a lot of shows.
We do. We really do.
Oh, speaking of Conversation, I can now say...
Is it come back?
Conversation Season 2 will drop in April.
Woo! I would say, okay, no, that's mean. Because you were busy. You had a lot of shit going on. Not about Blade Time. I am happy it's coming back. Because for a hot second, I was a little scared that you were going to trunk it. And I'm glad you did it. Because I'm not saying this because I was on the show or will be on the show twice. I really do enjoy your conversations. I really think that when you bring guests on, you talk about their fandoms, how they explore fandom. And I think every single person you've had on, myself excluded, has given some amazing insights into how they've gotten to and how they interact with fandom. So I say I'm glad it's coming back. I'm excited. It was worth the wait.
I'm really happy to hear you say that. I considered ending this season prematurely, but I pushed on and I recorded 11 out of 12 episodes. I will record a 12th episode tomorrow at the time of this recording.
Nice.
So I am very confident in saying that it is going to be out in April. I don't know when in April yet. I've got a date in mind, but it will be April for Conversation Season 2. For those of you who don't know, Conversation, because we've gotten a lot of listeners since I had that show on the air. But for those of you who don't know, Conversation is a spinoff that I do on my own, where I talk to podcasters about their fandom journeys and kind of what led them to their podcast, how their podcast has influenced their views on fandom. It's a show that I really enjoyed doing, and it's a show I had to shelve for a while. And season 2 was very difficult. To get through because my dad died in the middle of recording it, and finding podcasters is not easy, especially because we're a small show. By the way, thank you for 250 subscribers on YouTube. We just passed that milestone. Awesome, very cool. It's very difficult to find people to be on the show, but I've got a lot of really great guests this season, and I'm so excited for people to see it. Karis Lunn from season 1 comes back to talk about her show, Journey into Fandom. Ben Magnus comes back on the show with a twist. I will say only that. Ryan, I recorded an episode with Ryan, our co-host Ryan Eliopoulos, which was a really good episode. I'm really excited for you guys, and a big name surprise that I can't wait to announce. That I won't say now. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for you guys to listen to it. Just gotta start editing it, and you'll see it soon. You'll hear it soon. Sorry, only audio.
I'm excited for you, buddy. And I thought I was making waves with Pause Menu because I got an email right before recording from someone who I reached out to, wondering if they want to come on the show, and he just messaged me back and said, "Yeah, I can't wait. I'd love to come on your show if you still want me." I'm like, "Yes, please."
Well, no, I don't want to say that Conversation is bigger than Pause Menu. It's not. By the way, Basement Arcade Pause Menu, for those of you who don't know, is our biggest show. It is our most popular show. It is the show that gets us the most viewers, unless you're Black Adam, in which case you've almost passed 10,000 views. I don't know what the hell happened there.
I guess just me coming up straight up out of the gate saying the movie was mid, and people liked that, or they were like, waiting to see my hot take. I'm surprised I haven't gotten a lot of hate on the internet for it yet.
Who knew? It's wild that episode is done so well. And it's but yeah, so it's Conversation is not a particularly successful show, but it is one that I really enjoy doing. And because I really enjoyed doing season 2, as hard as it was, and I will admit it was very difficult, I am happy to say I am starting work on season 3.
Yay!
So there will be more Conversation.
That's awesome, bro.
Thank you. So that's all the show stuff. That's all the show stuff. So let's get into some real quick stuff that we've done personally. I've got my CBR link in the description below. I've got a few things on there if you want to check them out. I did not publish anything new this week, but you can check out my back catalog. There's some pretty good stuff. But Ben has 3 links in the description, as always.
Oh, bloody hell.
two episodes of Grayson Live, a new game this time. New game this time. So I believe I mentioned it before, but if I haven't, the new game that Grayson and I are playing, well, actually, Grayson's not playing it. I'm playing it. I'm the one who's playing it on his channel. I am playing Mega Man X4. Little history nugget. Mega Man X4 was the first Mega Man X game I ever played, and also it's kind of ipso facto my favorite Mega Man X game. I absolutely love it, and we're playing it on his channel, and it's a good time. It's really fun. That's awesome. And D and Dark. Now let me real quickly, before you talk about D and Dark, I would like to say, because I caught up on D and Dark this week, it is very good. I really enjoyed listening to that show, and I am so happy for you to have that group of people. I won't say much more about why I know them a little bit better than probably listeners would, but I'm very happy for you that you have the show, and it's a very good show. I think it is desperately needed for you, and I'm glad you have it.
Why, thank you. So what'd you think of the last episode?
Very good. Very good. I really enjoy what you guys are doing.
Yeah, because the episode that just came out, that's when so spoilers for D and Dark. If you haven't caught up with D and Dark, just cover your ears for the next 5 minutes. Because Larry, our warlock, just turned into the werewolf. Mm-hmm. And instead of this grand anime fight scene that I thought was going to happen, I get my ass handed to me. Oh my! It was
very funny.
I my dumbass thought, like inside baseball, but from the cliffhanger where I yell "Let's dance" and the way Dan edited that, I was like, oh, that's so good. I rewound it a few times, didn't listen to it because I thought it was so funny. Mm-hmm. To the week, like we waited 2 weeks to get back into the session because we had something come up and we had to wait 2 weeks until we could get together and record another session. And I was just so excited. I was like, this is going to be a big anime showdown. It's going to be like Attack on Titan. It's going to be this huge thing. And the second Dan said, okay, Ben, you do 4 points of bludgeoning damage, but the wolf has resistance, so it's half. So you do 2 points of bludgeoning damage. Okay, wolf, you're magic. So my bludgeoning and slashing resistance gets negated, and I take 20 points of damage in the span of a turn. I go, oh no.
Yeah, you had some bad luck with that one.
It's kind of like those memes where you hear like the opening to The Lion Sleeps Tonight where something bad's about to happen. It goes, ee!
Oh, like with the lion that opens the door.
Yeah.
So good.
It's like after when the wolf charges at me, I just go, ee! My eyes just bugger up. But yeah,
Grayson has a lot of fun moments in his subplot in that episode because he's hallucinating.
Poor guy has something called the feral fever, and he's just hallucinating everything. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I really enjoy. Oh, and then what is it? Imhotep and the Phantom do the Beauty and the Beast in that episode.
They do.
Yeah, very good. I really enjoy your show. It's very fun. My compliments to your crew.
There is one thing that just recently happened. We recorded it 2 recordings ago, or 1 recording ago, because we recorded again today. It's not gonna be out for a while. It's still a little ways down the road, sadly. But there's a moment that after I recorded it, I wanted to talk to you about so bad. But I know you listen to the show, so I can't tell you what it is because it's a really freaking awesome moment, and I know you're just gonna fall out of your seat laughing because of it.
I really wish you guys had the call-ins because I could be like, "Hi, long-time listener, first-time caller." All right. Yeah. So D and Dark episode 18, I believe.
Episode 18.
It can be found in the link below, and I highly recommend if you guys have not listened to D and Dark yet. I highly recommend it. It's a very funny show, a very fun show. It's a good show all around.
Yeah, fun times are had by all, and then there are times we do get serious. Feelings are involved, but then fun times are had by all.
It's the angstiest comedy show on the internet.
I mean, let's be real. It's Grayson who plays Jack, the Invisible Man. He has all the angst.
Hey, he might be watching this. You don't know.
That's true. I mean, he's not gonna disagree with us.
You want to do your week first?
Sure. So my week was a little bit interesting, but there are a few things media-wise that I did start and I do want to talk about. The first I want to talk about, because I know, Brandon, you probably already finished it, is I finally started season 4 of The Dragon Prince, The Mystery of Avaros.
Oh, buddy, I haven't started it yet. I forgot it came out.
Never mind. So I watched like the first 4 or 5 episodes, give or take.
How is it?
It's Dragon Prince.
Well, I know, but like, do you need to remember the first 3 seasons very well? Because I'll be honest, I kind of forgot a lot of it.
So the good news is, once you start season 4, there is a recap.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, there is a recap, and it does tell you what happens. I mean, it's classic Dragon Prince humor. The one thing I will say is that this series takes place 2 years after the events of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the characters have grown up. There's a few redesigns here and there. I mean, I'm into it. I loved the Dragon Prince since day one. I love the world it's in. The animation, while it's not my favorite, it grew on me. I'm there for the characters. I'm there for the lore. I'm there for the story. I'm enjoying it. Sorry.
It's okay. You shouldn't mute yourself when you're talking, though. You
I
can keep talking over them. It's only when I'm talking that their audio will
overpower. Yeah. But what was I saying? Bloody hell. Yeah. It's fun. It is a fun show. I'm not finished with it yet, but I plan to finish it soonish. Really, it was just when I came home, I was like, I'm going to start the Dragon Prince, and I started watching Dragon Prince. I'm like, oh, I gotta. Because when I started watching season 3, I remember I binged it in one night.
Yeah.
And I almost started binging it, but then it's like, oh, wait, no, I have to go to work, or I have to do this. I need to do things. So I forced myself to stop. But I would say, if you're a fan of Dragon Prince, so far, it's still pretty damn good.
That's good to hear. I really need to get on it.
Luckily, it's there on Netflix. And as far as I know, Netflix isn't taking away any of their shows. HBO.
No, they have taken. Netflix has removed some of their shows so far.
Oh shit! God damn it!
I don't remember what exactly, but it wasn't a show they own. Oh, they took away the Marvel shows.
Oh, but they rented up Disney Plus. That's different.
I know. I'm just saying. They've done it.
Yeah, but that just went from one home to a different home. You can still watch it. It's not like HBO where it's like, hey, we're removing this forever. You can never see it no matter what. Bye.
No, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to talk about is I finally got my hands on a copy of Metroid Prime Remastered.
Oh, I saw this. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a game. So as a lot of longtime listeners know, I've never played the original Metroid Prime games on the GameCube or the Nintendo Wii. It's one of those games I was praying that Nintendo would remaster for the longest time. They finally did. And when the physical copy dropped, apparently not a lot of copies made it to stores. those physical copies were gobbled up, and scalpers are having a field day about it. Actually, that drove me to write an article that has yet to be released on Go Nintendo, but it will soon, about Nintendo's supply problem. Thankfully, I was able to snag a copy, and once I did, I am so mad I never played this back in the day. Metroid Prime Remastered truly is an amazing game. The way that I'm playing with the dual stick controls, so it plays like a regular FPS, but it's not an FPS like Call of Duty or even Doom, where Doom has some exploration things like sprinkled throughout, because it's like mostly mayhem, run and gun, shoot, and then a little bit of exploration. Metroid is more exploration, and every room you go into is like, oh shit, I still have to run and gun.
Yeah.
So it is phenomenal. I'm still very early in the game. I'm only like maybe 2.5, 4 hours, or 2.5, 3, maybe 4 hours into it. But that short time while I was able to play it this week, oh my gosh, I am just like, why had I never gotten this game sooner? I am upset. I am mad because this game is phenomenal.
That's good. I'm really glad you found one.
Me too. I'm just glad I called up GameStop. One day I just came home from the gym and I showered. And I just was like, I'm just gonna call GameStop to see if they got a copy in. And they're like, yeah, we do. I was like, cool, on my way. And I picked it up.
That's good. Anything else?
No, pretty much just I want to talk about Dragon Prince and Metroid. Oh, also I got Kirby Return to Dreamland. That game's super cute, super fun. Definitely worth it if you have a partner who loves Kirby, or it's a fun side-scrolling game to play with your partner. Because I played it with Fanny for a hot second. It's truly fun. I am really glad I got that game for us.
A little inside baseball real quickly. If you see me yawning a lot, I apologize. I'm not doing this episode high. I'm trying to see if I could get through it without it. And normally being high is kind of a stimulant for me. Like I'm kind of like energetic with it. So I'm wondering how this is going to go. So we'll see.
We'll see. All right, how was your week, bud?
Okay, my week was fine. I spent it doing a big thing that I will talk about last, actually. I watched the first episode of Poker Face. It's a really good show.
Okay.
It's a really good show. Look, it's Ryan Johnson. It's a Ryan Johnson murder mystery, and it's a lot of fun. It's not so much a whodunit, though. It's a whydunit, which is very interesting because you do know who the killer is, at least in the first episode. Like, you see the murder happen, but it's the why. That is the mystery of it. Natasha Lynch, I believe is her name. She's fantastic.
Nice.
It's Charlie Cale, I think. Yeah. But yeah, good show. I've only seen the first episode. I'm looking forward to watching more. Ben, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
How much do you know about the Titanic conspiracy?
The Titanic conspiracy?
You know the ship, the Titanic?
Yeah, it sank in 1912.
Yeah. Do you know about the conspiracy surrounding it?
Let me guess. The conspiracy is the ship never really sank and it's still floating around somewhere in the Atlantic.
No. So
okay,
Ben, let me tell you what I know about this before I talk about what I'm setting up.
I am very, very curious.
There is a conspiracy theory that the Titanic did not sink. It was actually her sister ship, the Olympic. So for those of you who don't know, 3 ships were built. There are 3 identical ships: the Olympic, the Titanic, and the Britannic. Yeah,
the Olympic, Titanic, they were cruise ships, but the Britannic was a medic ship, right?
Yeah, I believe because it was around when the war happened.
Yeah, it was.
But it was supposed to be a cruise ship.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a cruise ship, but it was retrofit, or wasn't retrofitted. But because Titanic sank in 1912. In 1914, World War I broke out, so the ship became a medic ship, shipping wounded sailors to and from. And I want to say, I might be wrong, but it was hit by a sea mine, and that's how it sank.
But let me ask you: these ships are identical. The Titanic and the Britannic, and the Titanic and Olympic are very identical. It'd be very easy to paint over the name and call it the Titanic instead of the Olympic. So, here's what I'm getting at. I started listening to a podcast called Did Titanic Sink? Now I have been familiar with this conspiracy theory for a really long time. It's kind of famous. I think what happened was one of the people involved in the building of the Titanic on his deathbed said the Titanic didn't sink, it was the Olympic. And then that kind of, I think, started this whole thing. But anyway, so this podcast goes through this conspiracy because one of the co-hosts on the podcast believes wholeheartedly that it wasn't the Titanic, it was the Olympic. And the other one thinks this whole thing is stupid.
I mean, as far as conspiracy theories go, there are more harmful ones out there than whether or not the Titanic sank or not.
So I'm not a big conspiracy guy. I don't really believe in any conspiracies. I think it like the moon landing thing. Yeah, of course I believe we landed on the moon. There'd be people talking about how we didn't land on the moon. You can't keep a conspiracy like that quiet forever. But anyway, so this is called Did the Titanic Sink? And so it's a podcast series, about 30-minute episodes. I think it's about 8 episodes. I'm 4 episodes in. So here's the thing. I like fun conspiracies that are just kind of fun to think about and blah, blah, blah. And that's what this Titanic one is. So in the first few episodes, they talk about how the Olympic had a lot of problems when it first launched. It launched first, and then the Titanic was meant to follow a year later because this was an Olympic class liner named after the first ship. So the Olympic launched first, had its maiden voyage, doing okay, sank a British naval ship on accident. The propellers on the Olympic and the Titanic were so large that it would destroy tugboats. They would just get sucked in. Isn't that insane? So this was the biggest ship on the ocean. There was nothing this big at the time. And now our cruise ships are like 3 times the size.
Yeah, I'm still, even when there are times I've driven past cruise ships, or even when I would go pick up, I think I picked up my mom when she went to a cruise ship out of Long Beach, and just like looking at the Carnival cruise ships, I'm just like, that's really freaking big.
Yeah, the Titanic isn't even that big.
Yeah, not even that. Have you been on an aircraft carrier before? Like the USS Midway in San Diego? Have you been on that?
I don't think I've been on an aircraft carrier. I've seen one.
Yeah, they're also really big.
So by the way, there's a new Enterprise on the seas.
Really?
Yeah.
Yay.
We launched a new aircraft carrier.
Ooh, okay. Yay.
I think we launched it. I know it's coming. If it's not launched, it's coming.
All right.
Anyway, I did a big report when I was in high school about the Enterprise, the history of the aircraft carrier and the lineage of that name.
Nice.
Because I'm a Star Trek freak. Anyway, the Titanic. So the Olympic had a lot of problems. It was really badly damaged. It got into a crash with a naval warship, a British naval warship, and this naval warship that was designed to ram boats and sink them sank. That's how strong these Olympic class liners were. So this being badly damaged had to be put back into dock. And so what they were doing were moving parts from the Titanic to repair the Olympic. Very easy to do. It's the same ship. You just okay. But that delayed the Titanic. You were now Atlantic Star, I think is the company's name.
New Line Star.
No, it's Atlantic Star. It's Atlantic something.
Let me double check.
Whoever was building it,
was it White Star? Was it? I think it was White Star Line.
Might be White Star Line.
I think it is because
White Star Line.
Well, let me look up White Star.
So while you look that up, I'll just quickly go through this.
White Star Line. The White Star Line is a British shipping company founded out of the remains of a defunct packet. Gradually rose up to become the most prominent shipping lines in the world. Blah 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 blah.
So I guess it was White Star.
Today is remembered the innovative vessel Oceanic, Atlantic Republic. Oh, loss of the Titanic in 1912 and the wartime sinking of the HMS Britannic in 1916.
Yeah. So it was the White Star Liner. Okay.
White Star Line. Yeah.
So the White Star Line, they it's very easy because these ships are built with the same parts. You move them. Anyway, so why the Titanic is so tragic, right? Like the Titanic was built to be quote unquote unsinkable, but the designer, the guy Victor Garber plays in the movie, he had these ideas for like, okay, well, this ship is so big, let's make bigger precautions. So one of his ideas was like, let's build a second hull. So if that hull is compromised, then the interior, the actual ship will be inside a hull. Basically, you build the ship twice. Double the money, though. So no, you can't do that. We don't want to spend the money on that. Okay, well, you won't do that. How about the watertight seal? How about the watertight compartments? Put them to A deck, make them higher, so that it's more water. And so the Titanic was built so that if 4 watertight compartments were completely flooded, it could still sail. The problem was that it hit the 5th one and then the 6th one. That was the issue that the Titanic hit. But so the spillage would take longer. No, that gets in the way of the dining halls. We can't do that. Aesthetically, it just wouldn't look nice. Okay, well, I designed the ships to hold 64 lifeboats. Let's do that. No, we're only legally required to have 16. So let's just have 16.
Why does this sound? Wow. When corporations try to cut corners for safety, doesn't that sound?
But like nothing this big has been on the ocean before, so like it doesn't matter. Like it's too big to fail. There's no way the ship could sink. And in fact, honestly, if it had hit the iceberg head on, it wouldn't have. That's because the holes in the side that did it in.
Yeah, it's because it scraped it on the side. If it ran it head first, it probably was split or at least did something to it. But
would have just had the worst that would have happened would you have a dented front.
Yeah, a big ass dent in the bow. Because there are ships designed to break through ice. I mean, they're icebreakers, literal icebreakers, but they're specifically built and made for Arctic and Antarctic sailing and exploring.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's the stuff we know, but the stuff we don't, the quote unquote, we don't know, is the fun conspiracy stuff. Is that the Titanic was on fire for 3 weeks, and it was so the idea was that the Titanic, the quote unquote Titanic, was supposed to sink so that they would get the insurance money because White Star liners were not making any money while both the Titanic and the Olympic were docked because the Olympic needed repairs and the Titanic was delayed. So what they did was, so the theory is that they painted over the Olympic, named it the Titanic, set it sail, and then it was supposed to sink. And then they would get the money back. They would get the money from that insurance because, our new ship sank. So,
okay, the conspiracy got fun up until the part where they said, "Oh yeah, the ship was supposed to sink with all these people on board." So that
yes, it wasn't supposed to sink with all those people. A fire would have sunk the ship in 12 hours, which is plenty of time for a rescue ship to come to her aid.
Okay.
The problem with the Titanic sinking was that the Titanic. So this is not the conspiracy part, but the issue was that the closest ship was 4 hours away, and it took the Titanic 3 hours to sink.
And also, wasn't because no one was on the radio at the time, right?
Yes, no one on the other ship was on the radio at the time because there's actually we know why is because they were just being annoying. And again, this was a freak accident. That iceberg was not meant to be there. But the Titanic again was too big to fail. So the idea was that. So the conspiracy part of this is that 12 hours for the ship to sink, plenty of time to get everybody off the ship safely, fine, we're all good, no loss of life. The iceberg wasn't supposed to happen. The iceberg is the freak accident.
Okay.
So instead of 12 hours, it was 3.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the iceberg is still the tragedy of it all, but the conspiracy was that the Titanic was meant to sink.
Okay.
Well, it's a fun show. I really like it, honestly.
It is. I could see why it sounds like a fun show, and also I don't. It is, I guess, a somewhat harmless conspiracy because it's like, oh, that's not really Titanic. That was actually the Olympic. I can see why people can say that or do say that. Maybe
it doesn't take away from the tragedy because many people still died, and again, the iceberg was not supposed to be there.
True, very true.
So, regardless of whether or not you believe the conspiracy or you believe the true story. True story. No, I'm kidding. Whether or not whichever story you believe, the idea it's still a tragedy.
Yeah, it definitely is. But Okay, then.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good show. I highly recommend. It's 30-minute episodes. It's very easy to get through. I'm halfway through. I'll talk more about it next week when I finish it.
Nice. Yeah, let me know. Let me know how. Let me know what happens if the one who believes the conspiracy says, "Yeah, it's true. This happened," or if they jump ship, literally. Oh, look,
Grayson, hello, sir.
Grayson, we were just talking about you earlier.
Yeah, no, true story. LOL. That's very funny. Yeah, I really enjoy the show. It's a fun conspiracy to think about. Whether or not the Titanic or the Olympic, I enjoy it. Maybe he'll convince me though. Maybe by the end of it, I'll be like, oh yeah, you know what? It was the Olympic.
So does that mean if it is true, or if a lot of people believe it, James Cameron's gonna have to rename his movie Olympic instead of Titanic?
You know what's really funny about that movie? The first off, that movie is incredibly accurate. Like when that ship is sinking, the real problems are happening on the ship. Sorry, I hate this fucker. The designer of the Titanic, who's played by Victor Garber in the movie, his last known sighting in real life was he was throwing like pieces of wood and deck chairs overboard for people because he knew the ship can't, the lifeboats can't save everyone, so I'll just throw a bunch of debris overboard so that people can climb onto it and hopefully survive. He was like an incredible guy.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, are you trying to say something?
No, I was just trying because it's been a very long time since I was last seeing the movie, but also the fact that we're talking about this, it reminds me so much of do you remember the Costa Concordia tragedy that happened over in Italy in like 2012?
No, but hold that thought while I finish this real quick.
Go for it.
The idea is that the movie keeps it so accurate, and when James Cameron re-released the movie, I think in 2013 in the 3D, no, maybe 2013, when he first released it in 3D, he CGI'd the sky to be the accurate night sky because it wasn't originally.
Damn.
Isn't that wild?
That is wild.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh no, there's you're familiar with the Internet Historian, correct? Yeah, he did a video a while ago about the Costa Concordia, which was the ship that it was that cruise liner ship that in Italy where it air quotes sank, but it didn't completely sink, but it was like tilted 45 degrees in the water and it was stuck.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, like the video is about, it's a 45-minute long video, but the entire thing is because that maritime tragedy was the worst maritime tragedy since the Titanic.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like unfortunately, people did die on that ship, but for a good 4 years, that ship was just chilling out in the ocean, just tilted 40 at like a 45 odd degree angle, half submerged in the water.
Jesus, that's weird.
And it's nuts. It's a great video. I highly recommend it.
For anyone who, by the way, hasn't seen Titanic recently, I highly recommend that movie. Is incredible.
I just need to rewatch it. And Grayson's in the chat talking about how, I remember reading about that. He was trying to give the people in the water a chance. The person being the guy who designed the Titanic, chucking debris overboard to make sure people would try to survive. Although
that's a really good movie, dude.
I believe it. But although part of me is now thinking, it's like, hey, this door should fit 2 people. Chucks it over the water, and there's Rose is like, there's only room for 1, Jack.
See, okay, so in the movie, I'm so sick of this debate.
In
the movie, it should, because James Cameron even got into it and he started talking about how like he was probably wrong. But in the movie, there's a bit, she gets up on the door, and then when Jack tries to get up on the door, the whole thing topples over. That's in the movie, man.
Oh no, wasn't he on MythBusters to try and quell that argument?
MythBusters, I think. No, he wasn't on MythBusters, but he himself did do something recently where he tried to see if it was possible that Jack and Rose could have lived together. But also, it's an epic romance. Everyone needs to shut up.
Yeah. Oh no, I meant it as a joke. I'm not trying to fight over it. I meant it as a joke. My bad.
It's okay because I'm really fired up, but I really want to get into a fight. The next thing I did, which is I watched every single Rocky and Creed movie.
Oh, okay. I was like, why are we fighting? I don't want to fight you.
Put them up, Ben. We're gonna box. No, I watched all the Rocky and Creed movies in the lead up for Creed 3, and I went to see Creed 3. So we're going to quickly go through this. Rocky 2 is a good movie. It's perfectly fine. It's kind of just retreading Rocky, but a half hour longer. I don't think it needs to be. That ending fight scene, awesome ending fight scene when both Stallone and Apollo are both down, and it's down to the count. Oh, dude, that's a good fight. Rocky 3, I actually think is really good. That's the one with Mr. T.
That's the one I watched.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that one. Mr. T was he played Clubber Lang. He was a fun villain, kind of this powerful boxer, and teaming up Apollo and Rocky was a really smart idea for your third outing, and I think they are really good together. Rocky 4 is really silly. That's the one that introduces Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago. He's fun. He's fine in it. He doesn't really do a lot because that's not really the role he's given. The movie should have more emotional stakes, but it really doesn't, and it kills Apollo, and it doesn't really matter that Apollo dies in the movie. It just kind of comes to nothing, and it's got this really stupid monologue at the end of the movie where Rocky is like, "Hey, we're all the same, and we, Soviet Union and the United States can come together in peace and harmony," and I'm just like, "Shut up." It's okay. It's not the worst Rocky movie. It's not the best Rocky movie. It's fine and silly, and there's a robot, and it's weirdly sci-fi. I don't understand why there's a robot in that movie. It just doesn't make any sense why there's a robot in that movie, like, at all. Fun fact about the Rocky films: all of them are written by Stallone, and 2, 3, 4, and 6 are directed by Stallone. So Stallone has a lot of say in the Rocky films, and he really does bring like his own kind of what he's going through and his own fame to Rocky, and I think it works for the most part. It's kind of transparent, but I don't think it's a bad thing. Rocky 5 is garbage. It's terrible. It's an awful movie. And the fact that the people who made that film should be ashamed of themselves. It's boring. It's the shortest one, which is, I guess this should be like a notch in its belt, but it's not. It tries to do it does Rocky training a new generation of boxer in the form of Tommy Gunn, and Tommy Gunn. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's not a good movie. It doesn't work on many. It doesn't feel like Stallone cared about making a fifth Rocky film. It's just bad. Rocky Balboa rules. That is the 6th movie. I almost like that movie more than I like the first one. I think that movie. Oh, Mag's talking about the Stallone cut. I haven't seen that one yet. So Mag is in the comments. Says the Stallone cut goes way different in 4. I am curious about this one. I haven't had a chance to watch that one. Stallone has recut the 4th Rocky film, and I think I might check that out soon. But Rocky Balboa, really good. So that one's like a legacy sequel before that we had the term for legacy sequel. And it's Rocky comes back and he's going to get ready. He's got one more fight in him, but he's 60 years old and they're not sure if they can. And he's going to fight the heavyweight champion of the world. It's really compelling. It's got a really great heart to it. It's directed and written by Stallone, and I think it might be one of his best scripts. And it's definitely him as a really confident director. It's just a solid movie all over. I can't praise it enough. It's super sweet, super charming. Stallone is on top form. Creed 1 and 2 are incredible, and everybody should watch the Creed films. Ben, have you seen any of the Rocky or Creed films?
I've seen Rocky 3, the one with Mr. T.
Yeah.
I have not seen anything else.
So I would recommend, honestly, that you watch all of them if you can. They're all on Paramount Plus, I think, except for Rocky Balboa, which is on Prime, and Creed, which is on HBO Max.
Creed, I definitely want to watch because I want to watch the Michael B. Jordan. I would like to watch Creed 3 someday.
Yeah, I recommend them. They're a lot of fun. I really like boxing movies in general. So the first Creed film, I really like. It's directed by Ryan Coogler, Black Panther fame.
Mm-hmm.
And what Creed 1 does is Rocky 5 but better.
Okay.
Both Creed films have done Rocky 5 and Rocky 4 but better. So Creed 1 sees Rocky kind of come in and train Adonis Creed, which is Apollo Creed's son. And it's really compelling, and Stallone gives probably his best performance ever in that film. He's incredible in it. Michael B. Jordan is really great as Adonis Creed. It's a really compelling story. I really like that one. Creed 2, I thought I didn't like as much as Creed 1, but I actually think I like it more. I think Creed 2 delivers an incredible emotional stakes and pays off Rocky 4 in a way that Rocky 4 should have done, because it's about Drago coming back into Creed's life and doing the rematch of Drago versus Creed. And so it's Victor Drago. And it actually gives Ivan Drago agency and a character, and the fact, and he's really ashamed. He was pushed out of Russia because of his loss to Rocky, and he's trying to use Victor to kind of get back into the good graces of Russia, and that kind of generational trauma, and pushing this on your son. And it's really compelling and really solid, and just and Stallone again is incredible. Michael B. Jordan is incredible. It's a really good movie. I really enjoyed Creed 2 upon rewatch. Now I'll talk about Creed 3, because I'd also want to see Creed 3. It's the new film came out this weekend. Awesome. Like, truly awesome. There are 3 great Creed movies. Creed 3 has Jonathan Majors in top form. Michael B. Jordan directs the hell out of it. It's got some stylized fighting, which has never been in the franchise before, and it's incredible. The final fight between Majors and Jordan, awesome. One of the best fights in the whole franchise. I love it. It was incredible. I think people should definitely go see it. It's what's so great about a boxing movie, especially a Rocky and Creed movie, is that when you see it with a crowd in a theater, it feels like you're watching a boxing match. Like, when they're good, you can feel the energy in the audience, wanting to cheer and wanting to clap and wanting to root for your hero to win. And I felt that in Creed 3, and it's so good.
That's just a good sports movie right there.
It really is. And I'm the Creed franchise. Honestly, I'm worried that they shouldn't make any more. I think they're gonna. But I will say only one thing. I did miss Rocky. This is the first time that Rocky hasn't been in the franchise. I don't think he's necessarily needed anymore, but there's a specific scene where I felt he was, and I did miss him. But that's not a detriment to the movie, because I do think it's important that Creed gets out of Rocky's shadow. And if you got to do it by cutting the character out completely, I understand.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, Rocky's not dead in this universe yet, is he?
No, at the end of Creed 2, I don't mind spoiling this. At the end of Creed 2, he reconnects with his son, and kind of passes the baton to Creed.
Okay.
Kind of just go off, and it's kind of like there's no more for me to teach you anymore.
All right, it's essentially like you are now. It's like Yoda telling Luke he's now a Jedi. Essentially.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, great movies all around. I really enjoyed going through the whole franchise.
That's good. I just need to watch Creed now.
Literally watch 2 a day.
That's good.
Okay. Shall we get into our bread and butter then?
Let's get Babs out here.
I cut you off. I'm sorry.
All right, no worries. I was just making this silly comment.
All right, some sad news up top.
Yeah, that's a lot of them.
Yeah, it is. Bernie Mattinson. Bernie Mattinson, who is a long-running Disney animator. Honestly, look this guy up. You've seen his work. For 70 years, he's been a Disney animator. Excuse me. Died this week at the age of 87.
That 87's it's up there, but man,
he was still working with Disney. He was just working on Strange World.
70 years with the Walt Disney Company. When people reach their 50 years, they instantly say, I'm retired. Bye. This guy must have loved what he did so much. to stick with it for 70 plus years. My gosh, that is
Yeah.
that man better be a Disney legend at this point, because that is nuts.
Incredible work, by the way. Like
Yeah.
I actually went back and like looked at his stuff. Incredible.
Hmm. I mean, are we talking like almost every single big animated feature that Disney is?
Almost,
Oh man,
if not all.
wow.
But yeah, a lot. Look at his IMDb. It's no. You go on Wikipedia and just see the list of everything he's worked on. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm. That's a bummer. I mean, well, at least he's in the big animation studio in the sky now. So
Shozo Lizuka, who is the Japanese voice actor for Nappa, the Dragon Ball Z character, and Android 8, the Dragon Ball character, he passed away this week at the age of 89 due to heart failure.
yeah, that's also sad.
Yeah,
I mean, 89 once again lives a great long life, but
my
still,
dad's age.
yeah, that's still a bummer.
Riku Browning, who is the suit performer for the Creature of the Black Lagoon, he was actually the last Universal monster, because we've lost Bela Lugosi and
Boris Karloff.
All them. He was the last one. He passed away at the age of 93 this week.
Yeah, that is. Sorry, noise downstairs. That is a legacy right there. The fact that this person was in the costume, the last Universal monster costume. Because even when you say Universal monsters, people do bring up the Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Well, yeah, it's all in that kind of canon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the Wolfman, the Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, Creatures from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy. Sometimes even Phantom of the Opera is considered one of them.
Oh yeah, definitely. I will definitely, especially for my Dungeons and Dragons campaign. But
the only Phantom of the Opera movie that's considered one of them is a silent film from the 1920s, though. So it's not. It's kind of dubious whether or not that's considered canon.
Yeah, but still pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, like it's incredible. Like this dude, I didn't even know this dude was alive, and he's the last Universal monster that we had alive.
I honestly thought all of them had passed away. Once again, these films were like, they were made in the 20s and the 30s and maybe the 40s. These are very old films. So yeah. I just because it's been so long, I figured, oh, these people they've all passed away. They're all gone. I mean, it's sad, but the fact that they're not here, that these projects are so old, but the fact that these projects have still lasted the test of time. Like, we're still seeing things for classic Bela Lugosi Dracula, for Boris Karloff Frankenstein, for all of these other, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. So the fact that these actors and these performers, their work is now officially timeless, I think that's a high note to go on.
I think so too. Real quickly, Mag's comment is very interesting to me because it can be talking about two people on this list. Bernie Mattinson also worked on The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And The Hunchback of Notre Dame is also a Universal monster.
Wasn't Hunchback of Notre Dame like the very... Okay, so when we go to the Universal Studio Tour and we take the tram ride and we see all the different movie posters from the different eras or the different years that Universal have done, am I misremembering, but is The Hunchback of Notre Dame like the very first Universal picture that they have as one of their posters?
Oh, I couldn't say. It's been too long.
I want to say yes, but I could be wrong. But watch, next time I go to Universal Studios, I'm just going to forget about it because, let's be real, I'm not going there for the studio tour. I'm going to be going there for Super Nintendo World.
Yeah, that place is so small.
I know.
Oh, I can't tell you. Sorry, I know a rumor.
I'm still excited, though. I'm still excited to go.
Did you see they put out Pokemon in Japan?
What?
I believe they just launched Pokemon mascots in Japan.
Oh, mascots probably.
I think they want to work. I think they're going to expand Nintendo World in Japan, not here. In Japan, to include Pokemon.
Maybe not for Pokemon, but I do know for a fact they are expanding the Nintendo World in Japan to include Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, that's cool.
And when Universal Orlando or Epic Universe, the third gate over at Universal Orlando or Universal Florida, when that park opens up, their Super Nintendo World is going to include the Donkey Kong Country expansion.
Wait, I hadn't heard about the third park opening in Universal Orlando.
Yeah, Epic Universe. It's like 2 miles away from the original resort.
It's 2 miles away? That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's where they found the land and they were able to...
Well, yeah, they can't expand. They can't expand because they're landlocked on there.
I guess technically it's their fourth park because because they did open a new water park out there too.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you have the two main theme parks, and now you have a third one. But yeah, that third one's not opening until 2025.
I feel like we live in the future.
We do.
2025. Like I know it's 2023, but like, do you say 2025 is like, oh, that's so far away? I feel like I'm still living in the 2010s.
I mean, I know we just got into March, but it still feels like 2025 is still a good long ways away. So,
but it's not.
Yeah, it's a year and it's 2 years away.
Tom Sizemore also passed away this week. He was an actor for Saving Private Ryan. He also played a character called Anthony Sinclair in the most recent Twin Peaks season. I wish Ryan were here to talk about this. But he passed away at the age of 61, which is kind of shitty. It's the youngest person on this list.
Yeah, 61. That's not really an age to go out now, but it still sucks.
Some casting news. Moving on to some casting news.
The casting news.
Spider-Man Across the Universe has cast Karan Soni, who was the guys. You remember the taxi driver in Deadpool?
Oh yeah. I do remember the taxi driver from Deadpool.
Him. He'll play Spider-Man India.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Gotham Knights has cast Doug Bradley, who is the famous Hellraiser, Pinhead.
Oh, okay.
He's been cast as Joe Chill.
Okay, going that route. Got it.
I don't know why I added that. None of us are going to watch Gotham Knights. It's the CW show. It looks like garbage.
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
Yeah. Actually, I don't even watch the CW. I don't even watch regular cable TV or regular television anyway, so there's no way in hell I'd watch this.
Hellboy the Crooked Man has cast the titular Hellboy. We have our third Hellboy actor in the form of Jack Kesey, who's apparently in Deadpool 2. I have no idea as who. He'll play Hellboy.
Jack Kesey. One second. Let me pull up the news real quick so I
can. He didn't have anyone. I'll spell it for you. It's Jack. It's easy. Kesy. I didn't recognize him from anything. I don't think. But if you want to look him up, you can.
Yeah, I'm looking right at him. Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, I don't know.
Trying to movies and TV shows. He was in Dark Web. You know what? I lied. I think I do know this actor. He wasn't. It says he was in Claws. Fanny would watch Claws. I think he was one of the drug lord's sons in Claws.
So, I don't mind. I actually think this is smart, casting someone who's not as famous. Like David Harbour is pretty famous when he took on Hellboy because of Stranger Things. Obviously, Ron Perlman is pretty iconic as Hellboy. It's very difficult to kind of pick up that role at this point because two very famous actors have played it. Some people would say to different success rates, but still. So I think casting someone a little bit more unknown. Obviously, he's got stuff in his IMDb, but there's not a lot that we would recognize him from. So having someone be able to come in and kind of chameleon into the role, I think is the smarter move than casting someone that we would be like, oh, this is the David Harbour Hellboy, though this is the who would play Adam Scott as Hellboy. Like, like it's smart to cast someone that's not so famous.
Yeah, so that way when people go see this Hellboy film, they're not thinking, oh, David Harbour. I mean, yes, having a big name star does help draw people in, but if I remember correctly, even when David Harbour played Hellboy, not a lot of people went to see that movie.
No, and I think at this point, any Hellboy movie is going to have an uphill battle because we're coming in pretty soon after the David Harbour Hellboy, which wasn't well received. I think Sparks and Ryan really liked it. I personally didn't.
I think I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I loved it.
I wasn't on the review, so I don't actually remember where you guys landed.
I can't remember. It's been so long, but I have to agree with you because that way when people say, yeah, we're going to go see the new Hellboy, you just say, we're going to go see the new Hellboy.
Yes. But you still have an uphill problem of like, I think I truly think actually doing a theatrical film is probably a mistake. I think the way to go is a TV show at this point because you want to differentiate yourself enough from previous Hellboy incarnations. If you do another Hellboy movie, people are going to wonder if there is a connection between the last film or the film before. Again, because we are coming in so hot off the heels of the David Harbour Hellboy, people will start to wonder, oh, is this a new Hellboy or is this a sequel to that Hellboy?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
perhaps I'm not giving them enough credit because perhaps I'm not giving the audience enough credit because this is a period piece rather than set in the present day. So maybe that'll be an easier sell. But I don't know. It's interesting to try to do another Hellboy this soon though.
Yeah, that it is. Honestly, I wasn't expecting another Hellboy for a good long while, but I mean, hey, if they have faith in this project, go for it.
And Mike Mignola writing it does give me more faith than anything else at this point.
Yeah, that also helps a lot.
Anyway, Alien. As we know, Fede Alvarez is working on a new Alien film coming to Hulu. For those of you who don't know Fede Alvarez, he did the Evil Dead remake, and I believe Don't Breathe. But he's going to do Alien for Hulu. And this is not connected to the Noah Hawley Alien TV series, also coming to Hulu. Although I'm actually not sure if that show is still happening.
So there are 2 Alien shows coming to Hulu?
No, this is a movie.
Oh, okay. This is a movie.
So Fede Alvarez has cast a big casting announcement here. So Isabella Merced, who played Dora in Dora and the Lost City of Gold, and that is not a slight. She's incredible in that movie. That movie rules. People should watch Dora and the Lost City of Gold. It's awesome. Have you seen it, Ben?
I have not.
It's on Paramount Plus. Go watch it.
Okay.
She's incredible. Anyway, she's gonna be. It sounds like one of the leads of the movie. You know who she was? She was the little girl in Transformers: The Last Night.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember who she is now.
Less good movie. Go watch Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
You know, I remember when I was seeing trailers for that movie, I was like, I kind of want to see Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
People shouldn't sleep on that movie. It is really good. All right.
I think it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's.
Kaylee Spancy.
I think it's Spaney. It's spelled on the sheet as Spaeny. So maybe it's Spaney.
The lead girl from Pacific Rim Uprising, the girl who made the little bully, the little roly-poly mech.
Oh yeah,
she's cast. David Johnson, who I think this is one of his first big roles. Archie Renault from Morbius. Spike Fern from the Batman. I think he's the little boy. From the Batman.
Because one of those movies is really good. The other, not so much.
Morbius is what we would recognize him from, or specifically you, because you went to see it.
Yeah. Was I seriously the one who went and saw Morbius?
I still haven't seen it.
Don't waste your time, bud. Just stay away. And
Aileen Wu have also been cast, and the film starts filming on March 9th.
Alrighty. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Actually, that's this Thursday.
Oh yeah, it is.
Aaron Taylor Johnson has been cast in Robert Eggers' Nosferatu remake. Very excited for this movie. I'm so happy it's happening.
Is he's not, no, we don't know who Nosferatu is, right?
I don't know. I think we do. I think we know.
All
but
right.
I don't think it's going to be him.
Okay.
I have to look at the list again, but I don't think it's him.
All right. But still, hey.
It's got to be someone lanky.
Yeah, definitely. Because, Nosferatu is all just tall, lanky, and bleh.
It's wild to me that people recognize Nosferatu more as a meme from SpongeBob than they do as a movie from the 1920s.
You know what? Okay, I'm not one of those people, but I've never seen Nosferatu. There was this.
It's hard to watch, honestly. It's not easily accessible.
Oh no, I'm not saying it's easily accessible. I just know of Nosferatu because there was this bat documentary, or not a documentary, just like like those kids learning videos about a certain animal. I love bats when I was a kid. Like, bats were my favorite animal. And I was watching this videotape, and they would talk about vampires, and they would show clips of Nosferatu and Batman. And when I saw that vampire in that SpongeBob episode, I'm like, hey, that's that one dude from that bat documentary or that bat videotape I used to watch a lot as a kid. And then it's like, oh, that's Nosferatu. Who the hell's Nosferatu?
Yeah, Nosferatu. So I'm actually really happy he's coming because it didn't look like it was.
Mm-hmm.
The Penguin TV series on HBO Max has cast Salvatore Moroni. We heard him a lot in the Batman. He gets a huge play in the Batman, but now we know that Clancy Brown will play him, which I think is great.
Yeah, that's great.
Clancy Brown rules.
I know.
Salvatore Maroni's it's gonna be, man, we're getting the Penguin crime drama.
I'm really looking forward to this Penguin show. Normally, when we hear shows or movies about side characters from Batman or everything else, I just get kind of I don't know. But the second I hear about the Penguin, I'm like, I'm in. I'm full
it's
on
not
in.
so much. It's not so much as the Penguin as it is. It's Matt Reeves.
Yeah, it's Matt Reeves and it's Colin Farrell.
We both said something different.
It's one of the Collins.
Yeah, it's one of them. Probably Colin Farrell. But
Yeah.
if Matt Reeves wasn't doing this, if this was anyone else, I probably would be a bit more hesitant. But because The Batman is such an incredible movie, and Matt Reeves is developing the series, and it's Colin what's his face as the Penguin, I'm so in. And we're getting Salvatore Maroni, which means we could probably get Falcone and Maroni in one scene together. That'd be so good.
Falcone was played by John Turturro, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, for those of you who don't know, is a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie coming from the co-director of The Mitchells vs. the Machines and Seth Rogen.
Yes. All of the yes.
Yeah, so this will be an animated film done in the kind of like what we're seeing, like this 2D, 3D hybrid animation style. We have stills. We don't really have footage yet. We're getting footage soon. But what they did do is announce the entire cast. So I'm going to go through that.
I am looking at this cast list and I am like, oh, hell yes.
So
hell yes to all of this.
Ayo Edebiri from The Bear will play April O'Neil. Seth Rogen will play Bebop. John Cena will play Rocksteady. Giancarlo Esposito will play Baxter Stockman. Paul Rudd will play Mondo Gecko. Jackie Chan will play Splinter. That's exciting. That's really cool.
You know what? The fact that he hasn't played Splinter yet just blows my mind. And now that he's finally playing, I was like, you know what? He should have been playing Splinter years ago.
Yeah. Maya Rudolph will play Cynthia Utrom. Hannibal Buress will play Genghis Frog. That's a great name.
It is a great name.
Post Malone will play Ray Fillet. That's funny.
That's interesting. Okay.
Rose Byrne will play Leatherhead.
All right.
Natasha Demetriou will play Wingnut. Ice Cube will play Superfly. Brady Noon from Good Boys and Mighty Ducks The Game Changers. He's the lead.
Okay.
Well, he's not the lead in Good Boys, but he's one of the kids. He plays Thor in Good Boys, if you know what that is. If you know that movie.
Good Boys is that movie where the three kids where they go in and do stuff, right?
Yes. Very funny movie. Should definitely check it out if you haven't.
I should have. Damn.
Oh, well, he's going to play Raphael.
Okay.
Micah Abbey will play Donatello. Shamon Brown Jr. will play Michelangelo or Mike. And Nicholas Cantu, who's in The Fablemans, will play Leonardo, aka Leo. Incredible cast.
I feel like so thanks to Shredder's Revenge, which is that side-scrolling beat 'em up game that just came out the other last year for all major consoles, which is essentially a throwback to old school arcade beat 'em ups. I know some of these characters because you fight a lot of different TMNT bosses through that game.
I haven't heard of most of these characters.
Neither have I, and I think I recognize a few of them thanks to the game. I can only. I don't want to say this is based off of the old cartoon because Turtles has had so many different cartoons and of so many different iterations of media throughout the years. But looking at this, I mean, of course, we know Bebop, we know Rocksteady, but I did notice there was one name missing. There's no Shredder. Yeah,
I don't think they're doing Shredder this movie.
That, I don't want to say bold move, Cotton, but at the same time, kind of a bold move, Cotton.
I think a smart move. Because the Bay films are still, I know Baby didn't direct them, but he's associated with them. But they're still in people's minds at this point. And Ninja Turtles. And if you're doing what looks like they're doing, which is kind of this radical reinvention, stylistically at least, of the Ninja Turtles, it's clearly not a movie based on the original comic, which is incredibly dark. It's not even a show based on it's not a movie based on any comic thing. But the idea that we're kind of doing this reinvention of the Turtles, we don't want to put Splinter in the first film because we want people to come back for another one, and the next one would be Splinter, and then
You mean
that
Shredder?
way, Shredder. Thank you.
Yeah.
You want the next one to be Shredder, so that you can, or even the third one, so you have somewhere to go. You don't want to
Okay.
put everything in the first thing.
True, because
Kang, right? Krang.
Krang. Yeah,
He's also
that
not in this, so like I
yeah
understand.
the Technodrome.
Yeah, so like you have places to go, because what I'm seeing here is a bunch of side characters from the Turtles franchise, and many of these characters haven't been in movies before, and I haven't seen too many shows, so I'm sure they're in the shows. But like as far as mainstream audiences goes, this is almost an entirely new cast of characters to get introduced to.
Also, no Casey Jones. Interesting.
Yeah, well, the first film didn't have
Sure, the
Casey
first
Jones.
one. Yeah, first one didn't have Casey Jones. Yeah, I could see that. I could see
At
if
least the first Bay film didn't have Casey Jones.
Yeah. No, I know what you were talking about. You know what?
That was Stephen Amell.
Yeah, I know.
When he showed up, it was Stephen Amell.
Yeah. You never saw Out of the Shadows, right? The second Bay Turtles film.
Oh, I don't know. They kind of blurred together, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty fun.
Oh, you know what? I haven't seen it because I've heard people say it's better, and I haven't seen it.
Okay. Yeah. I saw it in theaters. It was actually not that bad. I was expecting it to be a lot worse, but it was really good.
So,
or maybe not really good, but it was still pretty decent.
So Mag brought up it would be more hype to have Usagi Yojimbo for deep fans, but would be too much. Yeah, it would be too much because Usagi Yojimbo is pretty deep cut for that character. But real quickly, this is not in the news, Mag. Did you hear that they're doing a new crossover with Usagi? They're going to do a Turtles miniseries in the comics. It's going to be crossing over. I personally haven't read Usagi Yojimbo yet, but I've got the first volume that I want to check out. I've heard great things about the character. So
I've only heard things about Usagi. I only know Usagi Yojimbo because I think I have some Viz comic books, but they're Pokemon comic books, like standard American size books.
Sure.
But they're drawn black and white manga style, and there's ads for Usagi Yojimbo in those books, and I'm like, I don't know who this character is, but that's a rabbit with a samurai sword, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, he's a cool character. There was actually a show. Netflix did a show recently, a kids animated show that was based on Usagi Yojimbo. I didn't hear anything about it, but it happened.
Max still in the comments saying that already hyped for it. As always, recommend reading the old books.
Yeah, I tried to read. I want to read the first run because I know they've done omnibus books, but like I can never find the first volume of those whenever I'm looking in stores. So I just decided to buy it online. Anyway. All right. Lord of the Rings news. Talked about this last week. We talked about how Zaslav wants to make new Lord of the Rings movies. Well, we now know that the reason why is because he wants Lord of the Rings to be a franchise in the vein of Star Wars.
Thanks, I hate it.
No, I'm good. Thanks, though.
No. No. I hate this. I hate this so much. And it's not the fact that there's look, I'm okay. I like more Lord of the Rings. I love I love Lord of the Rings films. I tolerate the Hobbit movies. I mean, I'll probably still put them on every once in a while in case I just want a good adventure. Desolation and Smog is my personal favorite because,
I don't hate them.
I don't hate them either. But I hate this idea of wanting to turn the Lord of the Rings into Star Wars because I feel like, I mean, yes, I know there's a lot of stories that you can do thanks to the Silmarillion, but at the same time, while Star Wars, like what George Lucas is like, hey, this is a set story, but there is still so much more that Star Wars could be and has been. Whereas with Lord of the Rings, I feel that it's much more, I don't want to say set in its ways, but there's just not a lot to go off of, I feel. Am I making sense? Because I have a lot of feelings about this.
No, you are. But I see the intent. I really do. Because if you think about the two, like I think Star Wars is an apt comparison. Not just as the films go, because good original trilogy, shit prequel trilogy. I like the prequels. I shouldn't have said that. But the idea of they're both expansive worlds with corners that have never been touched before, with millions of years of history that can be mined in any way, shape, or form. But there is something about Lord of the Rings that feels. I hesitate to use this word, but almost sacred.
Yeah,
probably because it started as a book, and Star Wars didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars is really derivative of other things. Like it's common knowledge that it's Flash Gordon and John Carter and also and World War II movies all put in a blender and made into Star Wars, and that's cool. But Lord of the Rings is kind of the blueprint for fantasy because those books are so old. I don't think this is a good idea because it's not like a comic book. It's not like a long-running comic book franchise like Marvel, where you could mine stories for decades to come because there's 80 years of material that you can deal with. Yeah. There's a finite amount of Lord of the Rings, and I know that Christopher Tolkien puts out a bunch of books of unfinished manuscripts and things like that. But there's still a finite amount of Lord of the Rings. There's a finite amount of history. So if you end up going into the idea of this is original story, you risk. There's a larger risk than there is with Star Wars, I think. And I think Rings of Power took a huge risk. I am happy to say that I believe it paid off. There's an animated movie coming soon, which I'm pretty looking forward to. I think that could be kind of cool. I'd like to see that. Anything from that. I don't know where that's been. So in concept, I don't think we should be so hesitant about this. But we are. But there's what does Mag say? Is Mag saying something better?
Mac is saying it's also different how much the creator has put in their works, with Tolkien not much, while Star Wars expanded in different shapes of form in mass media.
That's a really good point. How Star Wars has always kind of been a multimedia franchise with books and comics and video games, and multiple creators have had their spin on Star Wars, whereas really only one person has had a say in Lord of the Rings, and that's Tolkien.
Yeah.
Even Peter Jackson's films are adaptations of Tolkien's work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is a smart idea, personally.
No, you know what? I think because George Lucas created Star Wars, but Peter Jackson adapted it from Lord. I think because the Lord of the Rings films that we know and love are adaptations, whereas a lot of Star Wars media, while based on original works from George Lucas, 100% they are 100% original in a very broad sense. Whereas you have the High Republic, or even back before Disney bought Lucasfilm. You mentioned how there were television shows and video games. There was this video game where you got the plans from the Death Star to give the Princess Leia. I forgot what the title of the game was, but there was a video game about it.
Rogue One.
Before Disney.
I know.
Yeah, but there was also a game. There was also a game where was solely you being a Nubian starfighter pilot. And of course, who can forget Star Wars Jedi Starfighter for the PS2? Or
there's
Bounty
we can
Hunter.
list off tons of games. Republic Commando rules, but there are video games for Lord of the Rings. There's the Shadows of Mordor games, which are really good. So there are people who have expanded on Tolkien's lore and have done it. It's just there's, maybe if there was someone in charge who wasn't looking at Lord of the Rings as a franchise that is not being mined for money, maybe I'd feel differently. If I felt this was like a creative feeling of hey, we've got this idea, we want to dive into Lord of the Rings, we want to do something creative with it, and we want to take it in a direction, we want this, blah, 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 I'd feel differently about it. But I know that Zaslav is only looking at this as we're not making money from Lord of the Rings. Let's fix that.
Yeah, that's
And that's what I think. That's where I'm rubbing up against it.
Yeah, and like if there's someone out there saying, "Look, we have a bunch of people on staff talking about Lord of the Rings, how they have ideas for films and X, Y, and Z. We want to expand on that." Cool, but because I know it's Zaslav and I know he's looking at the big name franchises under the Warner Brothers banner, saying, "Hey, how come we're not making money from X, Y, and Z?" Exactly. You hit the nail on the head, and because it's Zaslav running Warner Brothers Discovery, everything that comes out of his mouth is like, "Hey, we're going to do this, and we're going to try and make it like this." It's like, don't.
Oh, I will say. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to segue into this because I tweeted this like a day before this happened. I think that if Zaslav really wants to make more money from Lord of the Rings, the way to do it is to re-release the original trilogy in theaters. They have never seen a re-release in theaters, not an official one. Obviously, I'm sure they've been in like local theaters and things like that, film festivals and whatnot. But like I'm talking like a global re-release, like we've seen with Titanic and we saw with Avatar, like we see with Star Wars, and like we see this all the time, but we haven't from Lord of the Rings. Well, thank goodness they listened to me. Specifically, they listened to me, Ben, because the Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King extended cut will be released in theaters come April. Thank goodness, because that's how you do this. Look what just happened with Avatar 2 and Titanic. Avatar 2 was the third highest grossing film of all time. Then Titanic was re-released in theaters, and it became the third highest grossing film of all time again. Like, there is money on the table, yes, because there's an entire generation of people who have never seen Lord of the Rings in theaters. Let them.
I even grew up in the era.
I'm sorry. Did you just tell me you have not seen Lord of the Rings in theaters? Ben!
My parents never took me. I wanted to go see Fellowship of the Ring in theaters. My parents just didn't.
My heart goes out to you, sir.
I don't know why they didn't. I think my brother went and saw Two Towers in theaters, but when Return of the King came out, we just never went. And then as I got older, I was like, man, I should have really gone to see those movies.
So
and the fact that
what I'm talking about.
And not only that, because now that that you just said the extended cut is coming to movie theaters, I still have yet to see the extended cut of Return of the King. I have seen the theatrical version thanks to my old roommate from college who gave me the set, except he gave me the expanded set for Fellowship, Two Towers, not Return, because that's all he had.
All 4 hours of it.
Now that Return of the King is being extended in theaters, I'm going to see this. I'm going to wait. Mag is in the
heartbreaking sound.
Mag, how heartbreaking is it?
My heart goes out to you, sir, because like truly, and that's the kind of thing I was talking about. Like, okay, yes, you get two people going to the theater to see Lord of the Rings. You get people who haven't seen it in decades and who would really like to see it in theaters. Me, I would really love to see the Lord of the Rings again in theaters. Like, it's an experience. There are people who grew up in that time who had not had a chance to see it in theaters. There is an entire generation of people who have grown up with Lord of the Rings not in theaters. I don't mean to make us old, but there are people who are 20 years old who were babies when that movie came out.
Yep.
Those people would see it in theaters. Do you know how much money you'd make?
So
you don't have to make new movies. All you have to do is re-release them. It's that easy.
I mean, I could already see, maybe not constantly keep them in the theaters, obviously, because that takes money, but maybe like every few years, just like, hey, Lord of the Rings weekend. Do you know how much money?
Not even that. Not even that. Put it out for a few months. 2 months.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of money.
Yeah. And also, do extended marathons. People did the Marvel marathons.
Would die. People would die, Ben.
Well, no, as in like do like what like movie theater marathons, like maybe not what The Dark Knight did, but like what the Marvel films did. It's like, hey, one whole day, a special ticket. It's a little higher price because you're gonna be there, but there's breaks in between because a lot of movie theaters have restaurants and places to go eat around them. You can go and watch the Lord of the Rings, the extended cuts, 2 hour break, extended cut, 2 hour break, extended cut, go home. I don't disagree. It's an all day thing, but I would do it.
I don't disagree with that. I think that like the easy answer for we're not making any money off of Lord of the Rings right now is to re-release those movies in theaters. Yeah. People would go see them. I guarantee you people will go see them.
I would. Honestly, the fact that Return of the King is doing it, I am going to make it my damn mission to go see Return of the King in theaters.
I went to see Titanic in theaters. That movie's awesome. Of course, I went to see it in theaters. I would kill to see Lord of the Rings in theaters again. Are you kidding me?
I would like to rewatch Titanic in theaters because you want to know how old I was when I went and saw Titanic for the very first time?
How old?
6.
Yeah,
I was a first grader. I was too young.
That's not the last time you saw it, surely.
No, but it was around the last time I saw it.
Ben, you haven't seen that movie in 2 decades?
Pretty much. I mean,
you should fix that.
Not from beginning to end. Because I've seen clips of it online, but I haven't watched Titanic from beginning to end in well over 2 decades.
You should fix that. All right. Anyway,
in my defense, I was young and I was an idiot. And I was young and I was very impatient, and that's a 3-hour movie.
It's a 3-hour and 12-minute movie. Yeah. I get it.
And when my parents bought it on VHS, it came in 2 tapes.
Yeah,
that was what I knew. There's like,
the film doesn't fit on 2 DVDs. What? Yeah, the only way you can watch that movie is 1 single disc is on Blu-ray.
Oh my. Let's see. Okay, Grayson's in the theater. He's like, "What are you? Is this about Titanic?"
Probably about Titanic.
Yeah, this is about Titanic. And then Grayson goes, "Been in the theater, Baps."
Baps?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, explain that one, Grayson. But let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
I'm happy. I'm over the moon that they're releasing the extended cut of Lord of the Rings in theaters. I'm going to be there, 100%.
That's not going to be a 1 weekend only thing, right?
I don't know. It sounds like this is like a not like a proper release, but like what we saw with Titanic, where you get like a good couple weeks.
Okay, good. Because if it's only going to be a 1 weekend only thing, I'm going to be upset.
Generally, those are Fathom events, and that doesn't sound like what that is. Oh, FAPS. I'll explain when you're older. Oh my God. Anyway, I get it, Grayson.
Oh, I think I get it now. Oh, yeah. I was like, when's the draw? And say, oh, I get it now. Okay.
Leo was really attractive when he was a kid. Not a kid. That sounds weird. That sounded weird. When he was younger.
Do I hear sirens going out of your mouth?
I mean, he can date 18-year-olds. I can say he was cute when he was 18. Winslet, though, that scene is sexy. Man, you know what I mean? Like when I'm talking about like I miss like sexiness in blockbusters, that I'm talking about the raw sexual energy of Titanic, where Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio just want to bone.
Yeah.
Winslet looks incredible. That scene I didn't realize that there was nudity in that scene. I mean, I kind of figured, but like I hadn't seen it in a really long time, and I didn't realize there was like proper nudity. I was like, oh shit.
Boobies.
All right,
moving on.
Dune: The Sisterhood. Grayson. Yeah, Leo and Departed is pretty good too. I'm a mostly straight man. Dune: The Sisterhood has fallen in some trouble. Johan Renck and Diane Ademu John are stepping down as director and co-showrunner. This is after the show has been filming. So they're going to step down. Filming will pause for 7 months as new showrunner Alison Shapker, who is a writer and producer on Fringe and Alias, among others, will make a creative overhaul of the series. And this is to adhere it closer to Denis Villeneuve's Dune franchise. So I guess the idea was that the previous showrunner and director were a little bit more auteur focused and were not creatively making it in line with what we saw in the first Dune movie, and Warner Bros. Discovery didn't want that.
Okay.
Kind of on the fence about this. On the one hand, I kind of understand where you want it all to feel like of a piece, but also maybe let people do what they want.
Yeah, I'm a bit of the same mind about this. I don't have a whole lot to say other than it sucks that a lot of people are being paused to work for 7 months. But at the same time, it's like, because since I'm still very new to Dune, I mean, I know we read the book before the film came out a few years ago. And after seeing the movie, I would definitely be one of those people who would be more comfortable watching a show with or with characters or with
that kind of
locales.
aesthetic.
Aesthetics, that was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
With aesthetics more in line to the Denis Villeneuve films, whereas it's like this is something completely different, but it's part of the same base material. So
Yeah.
I mean, I do agree that
one of the things that I want to see from Denis Villeneuve, if he continues with the franchise, is for it to get weirder. Because I think, as much as I really like Dune, it's very grounded, and that franchise is weird as hell. And I want to see weird come back into Dune. I wonder. I'm only speculating and kind of blowing smoke out of my ass, but there could be a sense of this guy was maybe trying to make it weirder, maybe. I have no basis for that assumption, so it's moot at this point, but still. Yeah, I hope what we get is a good show more than anything. Detective Pikachu. Jonathan Kreisel, director of Portlandia, is set to direct. He is locked in to direct the sequel to Detective Pikachu. It's finally happening. The sequel to the 2017 masterpiece Detective Pikachu is finally happening.
I'm curious as to what's going to happen because there is no sequel video game for Detective Pikachu. It's one and done.
But also that game is not the same as that movie.
True. Very true. It's weird because I think when people were hearing, or as someone like me, I don't know, if it's just because I'm so entrenched in the hope of the next live action Pokemon movie would be Pokemon Red and Blue or something more akin to the video games, not the anime, the video games. But I'm not upset that we're getting Detective Pikachu again because I did really love that movie. I highly enjoyed that film. So I would like to go back to it, but at the same time, it's I don't know how to feel about it.
More than anything, I think that the aesthetic of Detective Pikachu needs to be the aesthetic for live action Pokemon.
Yes.
There is no question in my mind that they nailed the aesthetic of that franchise in live action. Everyone looked exactly as they should. All the Pokemon looked exactly as they should. It looked like a world where Pokemon and humans coexisted. That movie, frankly, is incredible. But I think what's interesting is that it took so long to get a sequel to Detective Pikachu. I think there is a world where those characters come back 100%, and we're back in that world. I do wonder if maybe they're hoping that this one will springboard into more, because I think there's actually room for a Pokemon shared universe in live action.
Yeah,
and I think perhaps maybe if this movie does really well, because Detective Pikachu did fine. It didn't break bank. It did fine. It should have done better, frankly. You could, if this one does really well, you could spin off and get what you want to see, a red and blue game adaptation. You could.
We could. So there is a chance. There is always a chance. And also, since we're getting a new Detective Pikachu movie, that just means when we go see the movie, we get a free pack of Pokemon cards, and I'm not upset about that.
There's also that Netflix live action show coming.
I don't think it's not live action, stop motion.
No, not that one. Netflix is developing a live action Pokemon show. We've talked about this. In fairness, we talked about this ages ago. I only kind of have it in the back of my memory, but it is happening.
That's right. I forgot about that. I was only focused on because I did watch the Pokemon Presents recently.
Pokemon Concierge.
Yeah, Pokemon. No, yeah, that's what it's called. It's called Pokemon Concierge and stop motion animation.
Yeah, it looks cool. I don't know. Netflix. If Netflix wants to keep trying anime, go ahead.
They can.
So far their track record's not great. Ben, I'm a big Star Trek fan.
Really, I haven't noticed.
Just in case you didn't know. Well, Star Trek Discovery, the flagship Star Trek series for Paramount Plus, has been canceled. Season 5 has filmed and will undergo reshoots to end the series properly.
Oh, so they're Frankensteining it essentially.
A little bit. It does sound like this was not the plan. That this is not necessarily sudden, but they had filmed the show with the idea that there would be a sixth season. Now, Star Trek Discovery is really every season of Star Trek Discovery is standalone. It has a inciting incident and it ends, and there's really no lead into another season, except for season 2 and 3. But outside of that, they really just end the season as a season. But it does feel like season 5 was not, the idea wasn't for season 5 to be the end. And it sounds like Paramount Plus is doing what a lot of streaming services are doing, which is cutting costs.
Yeah.
Streaming companies are starting to realize that streaming is a very expensive endeavor, and it is not paying dividends like it was. It really does feel like the bubble is about to burst. That's kind of what we're seeing. So the idea that Paramount Plus is stepping back from streaming, kind of taking some money back and not putting as much money in, it makes sense that their most expensive show, which is Star Trek Discovery, would end at this point.
Yeah.
I hope they can make an ending for it, because I find Discovery to be an enjoyable watch. I certainly have no ill will against the show. But look, there's no denying Star Trek Discovery is a big part of Star Trek history at this point. It is the reason why all these shows exist now. There is no two ways about that. If it wasn't for Discovery, we would not have Picard, Lower Decks, Prodigy, Strange New Worlds, etc., etc. With Picard coming to an end this season and Star Trek Discovery. By the way, Star Trek Discovery has been pushed to 2024 in order to kind of make this ending happen. With Picard coming to an end this season and Discovery coming to an end in the upcoming season, that leaves Strange New Worlds as the only live-action Star Trek show, and Lower Decks and Prodigy as there. I think Prodigy is safe. I think Strange New World is safe. I'm a little worried about Lower Decks at this point. I'll be honest. I'm honestly a little bit worried about Star Trek in general, because I think what we're seeing is a wind down, and it really felt like we were winding up.
Yeah,
just last year.
Because also, especially last year, it feels like Star Trek's back, baby. We were getting all these new shows, all these things were coming around. So to hear that the flagship, the one that started all Star Trek Discovery, is ending, it's a bummer to hear. And the fact that they're forcing season 5 to be the last season, yeah, I'm a little nervous for you, because that it reminds me a lot of what creators had to do. I know it's not the same thing, but at Disney Animation, where it's like they had this huge long plan for their shows, but then the bigwigs just came in and said, okay, no, you're actually going to be finished here. So make sure you get your endings done, and you can't do the long form story that you really wanted, even though the show is wildly popular.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily that. Like I said, Discovery doesn't really do long form storytelling. Every season is a self-contained season that you can watch as its own, and you can always be confident that the season will end everything with a nice bow. So you just kind of have to give it a proper send-off. There's 2 shows that have been rumored for quite some time: a Section 31 series starring Michelle Yeoh, soon to be Oscar-winning Michelle Yeoh, and a 32nd Century Starfleet Academy series, both of which would be live action, and I would be happy to see movement on those. And there's a lot of pressure to kind of spin off Picard into a new season, into a new show. I hope that's true. I cannot deny that I'm just a little bit worried, because it's not necessarily that I'm worried about Star Trek. It is the fact that Star Trek is now a streaming only series, and it's not a network series anymore.
Right.
And the streaming bubble is about to pop. We are seeing streaming services pull back. They're not dropping the money they used to. Netflix is struggling like hell. We're seeing it with their password sharing plans. We are seeing an end of the golden age of streaming.
Yeah.
And I believe that's a fact, personally. So, and I think Star Trek, I worry that Star Trek will be just a casualty of that.
Yeah, I think so too.
I Anyway, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe next week they'll be like, and here's more Star Trek.
Hopefully.
Yeah. By the way, Picard's really good this season.
That's good.
I haven't had a chance to talk about this latest episode of Cookie, but it's really good. Dead by Daylight, a game we like.
We do like that game.
A game we all like. Everyone on this podcast likes this game. We have a few basement arcades on Dead by Daylight. Well, anyway, Blumhouse and James Wan's Atomic Monster have entered into a partnership to develop a Dead by Daylight movie.
I can see this being good.
Me too.
I mean, Dead by Daylight, if before we got all the movie tie-in characters like, Freddy, Michael Myers, Ghostface, there's a lot of really good original monsters and killers.
There's a creative lore to the game as well.
There is. So I think that this could actually be a really good slasher film, essentially.
I think this has the potential to be a really unique film. If they kind of like mine the lore and bring to life some of these characters, some of the original characters specifically, I think we could see something really cool. And I hope it could be really cool. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. We've been saying this for a while. Every time we play Dead by Daylight, I was like, man, they should make a movie off of this. These are cool characters, and
they finally are.
Video game news, Ben.
Oh?
Elden Ring is getting a new expansion called Shadow of the Erd Tree. You're doing a thing?
I'm sorry. I'm doing the Elden Ring thing. Yeah. So it has been rumored, but it's been widely speculated that we were going to get DLC for Elden Ring. A lot of From Software games do have DLC. Dark Souls, Bloodborne, they have very well-made DLC. And now that it's official that we are getting it for Elden Ring, just makes me so happy. It's another excuse to go inside the lands between. There's not a lot mentioned about what the DLC is about. It just has a concept art that Vajividya, who's a big From Software YouTuber, already did a whole video about, like, maybe what the game is or maybe what the DLC is about, essentially. The news isn't like the reason why I'm excited isn't like what possibly is in the DLC. It's the fact that it's for sure real and it is happening. So just that alone makes me excited because, damn it, From Soft, take my money. Elden Ring was a 10 out of 10 game out of the gate ever since I started playing it. So
sure. Well, I'm excited for you and Ryan.
Yeah.
And The Wolf Among Us 2 has been delayed to 2024 in order to avoid crunch.
I completely forgot about Wolf Among Us 2 for a while.
Sure.
And now that they are delaying it to 2024, I am not upset. The reason why is because they're saying they're delaying crunch. And I'm like, you know what? Good. Make sure it's polished. Make sure it's good. Don't kill your employees, because what people and corporations and employers have been noticing that if you work your employees hard and kill them, then they're not going to want to come to work for you anymore. So
well, this is kind of what we're seeing also in like the VFX industry, right? Like
right.
we're seeing a lot of this, these non-union, are video game companies unionized?
I want to say some are, but not all of them.
Well, what we're seeing, I won't say unionized, but we're seeing like people take advantage of like these like, we're doing 14-hour days and you only get paid for 8 of those hours. And like, I think developers and studios need to realize that if you delay something, you create a better atmosphere and you create a better product.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I'm trying to plug in my power cord real quick. I completely agree. Look, games being delayed, it does suck, but it's okay. I'm totally fine with a game being delayed a little bit longer so developers don't kill themselves over making it.
Yeah.
And honestly, we mentioned it before a lot, and we keep mentioning about crunch time. Look at games like Cyberpunk. That game was put under intense crunch, even when CD Projekt Red straight up said, we're not going to do crunch. They lied. They did do crunch. The game came out a complete buggy shit mess.
But then it was patched.
Yeah.
And again, this goes for VFX. This goes for video games. You delay, you create a better atmosphere, which creates a better product.
Mm-hmm.
Period. There's really no two ways about it. And I'm really happy to see a lot of video game companies realize that and say like, okay, yeah, we don't want to kill our employees, so we're going to delay this thing. We're not going to get. We're not going to comfortably make this release date, so we're going to push it.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Makes sense.
Trailers.
T-Talk. We're in the trailer park.
Peter Pan and Wendy.
I didn't hate it.
The only thing that has me interested in this is the director. Is the director of Pete's Dragon.
Ooh.
I really like that movie. I think it is the gold standard of these live action remakes, the animated retellings, as they call them, because it's not the same movie. It's a different movie. It takes the concept and runs in a completely different direction, and it's a really sweet movie, and I really like it. I don't see that right away with this, but I'm hoping that what we're going to see is something unique and different. But this trailer didn't sell me on that so far, and I'm still kind of burnt out from these. So I'll have to wait for another trailer.
Yeah, I'm also not 100% sold on Peter Pan and Wendy. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't necessarily love it. I mean, Peter Pan is definitely one of those movies that, as a child, it has a soft spot, but watching it today is a little hard.
Sure.
Because of the racism.
There's racism?
Yeah.
What could possibly be racist about it? Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, Peter Pan. I like the designs. I don't know if I like the design of Captain Hook, or not design. I don't know who the actor playing Captain Hook
Jude
is,
Law,
but
I believe.
Oh, that's Jude Law.
I believe so.
No wonder I liked his voice, because I'm like, that is a.
It's either Jude Law doing this one or a different Peter Pan movie, and I think it's this one. Let me check.
All right. Okay. Either way, I think I'm with you on maybe needing to see another trailer before, if I'm definitely gonna watch it or I'm gonna skip it.
Yeah, it's Jude Law.
Okay. Is this?
Oh, Jim Gaffigan is playing Smee. That's kind of cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? My God, he's a perfect Smee too.
Ever Anderson is playing Wendy. Oh, she played the young Natasha in Black Widow. Oh, and young Alice in Resident Evil. That's funny. Yeah, I kind of liked her in that role.
All right.
These are two unknowns are playing Peter Pan and Wendy, which could go either way.
Yeah, it could, but I think we need another trailer.
Yeah.
Is this Disney Plus only, or is this also in theaters?
It looks like this will just be Disney Plus.
Okay, so the worst came to, not to say that
it's either as bad as Pinocchio or it's as good as Pete's Dragon, and there's really no in between.
Yeah, really no in between. Just what I was saying, I'm just glad I didn't pay money to go to theaters to see Robert Zemeckis' Pinocchio.
How have you seen such bad movies? We tell you not to go see Pinocchio or Morbius, and yet you do it.
I didn't go. Well, yeah.
You're the only one who saw Morbius, my friend.
I am the only one who saw Morbius. Really
Ben saw Morbius. Sorry, Ryan saw Morbius, but he saw like a live stream of it, I think.
Yeah, I think he did.
Anyway, Haunted Mansion.
I am excited for this one.
I think this one looks pretty cool. They're kind of still doing a comedy angle with it, which I guess they probably can't avoid. I still lament that we're not going to get that kind of Del Toro horror Haunted Mansion movie, because I think like Haunted Mansion could be a good horror movie, but I think what they're doing here is pretty interesting. There's some good imagery. It's the bride. It's the kind of looks like the bride is like the main villain, right?
Constance, the bride. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good. That actually has a genuine scare in the trailer.
Oh no! What makes me so happy about this is not only are they nailing the aesthetics of the Haunted Mansion, they're also bringing the horror elements in. Yes, the Haunted Mansion ride itself, it's a funny ride. It's silly. You got Grim Green Ghost. You got a few spooky things here.
Oh, the Hatbox Ghost is in this trailer.
The Hatbox Ghost is in the trailer.
Yeah,
and
cool.
I love I also love how they're focusing on the Disneyland Haunted Mansion, the old New Orleans style house, compared to Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom, which is a more colonial style house.
Yeah. Well, that's what I kind of wish they weren't going the comedy angle, because aesthetically it does look similar to the Eddie Murphy film.
Mm-hmm.
and so like doing like a hardcore horror. I know Disney's never going to do a hardcore horror. It's a pipe dream. I totally understand that, but like doing something closer to a horror movie, I think was probably the smarter way to go.
Yeah.
But that said, I do think this looks pretty good.
I'm all for it. I mean, Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito. I also love the guy. I don't know his name, but when Owen Wilson's talking to the actor who plays Ben, he's like, "I'm not going there." It's like, it's $10,000. It's like, okay, cool. When do you want me there?
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
It's like,
I hope the humor is good.
Yeah, they're already dead. They'll be deader.
That was good. Yeah, I hope it's good. I do think what we're seeing in the trailer as far as like humor goes is pretty interesting. I just, I would like to. Wait, Max says besides the Muppets version of the Haunted Mansion, yeah, I wish it goes more gothic horror like how they did it in the first Pirates movie. Yeah, that's a good analogy. How the Pirates of the Caribbean film isn't really a comedy; it's an action adventure with horror. It's like an action adventure horror, which I think worked, and I think that when you play to the strengths of the ride, it works better. Which is why Pirates of the Caribbean is so good. But here, kind of trying to do this horror comedy, not saying it won't work. I'm just saying that, like, I do wish we did more of, like, maybe something more akin to Crimson Peak than akin to the first Haunted Mansion movie.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope it's good. I'm glad it's coming to theaters.
Yeah.
And, true. I mean, so far it looks great. And I can't wait to see a second trailer to see more footage. But at the same time, it's like, I'm for it. I'm in.
Yeah. All right. Shall we go into our main topic then?
Yeah, why not?
All right. Let's see if I can figure this out. I forgot where the button was, so. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Cocaine Bear. This is the latest film from Elizabeth Banks, written by Jimmy Warden. Cocaine Bear is in theaters now. Full spoilers. If you have not seen it, you've been warned. We're going to spoil the shit out of it. What'd you think, Ben?
A bear does cocaine and doesn't die.
Yeah, so the true story is that the bear dies.
Dies a horrible death, unfortunately. But honestly, I do say it's a fun time at the theaters, but all in all, it's kind of a meh movie, I would say.
Interesting.
I mean, I still had fun with it.
Yeah.
I thought a lot of the cocaine stuff, when the Cocaine Bear was on screen, I thought was funny. But I also felt like this movie was trying a little too hard to be a horror movie, if that makes sense.
I don't think it was trying to be a horror movie. So I really liked this. I thought that was a lot of fun. I was rollicking in my seat. I thought it was very funny. The bear design I think is great. They kind of walk the line of like, this is terrifying, but also really cute. The kills are very inventive and very fun. I think the cast is clearly having a good time. There's only one kill. There's only one death in the movie that actually does make me sad. And it's the cop's death on top of the
Yeah.
And I think that, like, that's a mark of a good kind of what this is, which is an absurd comedy of a bear doing cocaine. There's one bit that was so amazing, which is the cocaine's on the severed leg, and the bear just does a line.
That was fun.
It is so good.
Because the guy, when he's trying to go through the woods and he sees the cocaine and he just like falls, he face plants into a brick of coke, and then he gets all the cocaine on him, and then the bear, when he's about to get to the kid, goes, ah.
Oh, cocaine! Like, I love that the bear is so much fun because like the bear senses cocaine. He like knows where cocaine is at all times.
Just constantly knows like, where's the drugs? There they are.
Yeah, I think that like all the deaths are really inventive and oftentimes very funny. Maybe the girl in the beginning isn't so funny, but like the guy that we're talking about who like is hiding in the tree and he like falls and he, like, it's really funny because like he falls dead, the leg falls on him, and then the bear falls on top of him. It's a good rule of 3 comedy bit.
And just does a line right off his leg. I also kind of like the ambulance scene quite a bit.
Yeah, that's absurd. Like I thought that was very fun. The because what I think is so interesting about the ambulance characters is that they're not on screen long enough for you to really care about their deaths. And that's by design, because like what you want in this film is not a movie where you're going to feel bad that someone's dead. You don't want to just keep watching a movie where every single time someone is killed in an absurd, gross way, that you're like, oh, I like that character, or oh, I feel bad about that, or blah 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 blah. So when you introduce a character like this ambulance thing, they don't have characters; they are just vehicles for this bear to kill, for this bear's kill count to go up.
Literally a vehicle for the kill counter to go up.
And like you do kind of like root for them because they're people and you want them to survive, but also their deaths are hilarious.
I mean, to be fair, one of the reasons why I was interested in seeing this is because one of the guys who was the ambulance driver or part of the ambulance crew is a famous social media guy on TikTok, Instagram.
I've seen him.
Yeah. The way he dies is, I think, hilarious, because like when he opens the door and the bear just comes out of the shadows, which I would argue is also pretty scary, like especially with all the blood on the bear's chin, and he just like slowly closes the doors like, I didn't see anything, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, we gotta get the F out of here.
And his partner like runs into a tree and flies out, but the horrible park ranger's death is really fun. What a horrible human being she was.
I kind of felt bad for her.
She just went through so much.
She went through so much in an hour time span, where she got mauled by a bear, like she got a huge cut on her leg, then she got attacked again, and then she dies due to road rash from getting half of her face rubbed off on the concrete, on the asphalt.
That's pretty funny though.
Rough way to go.
Yeah, I think that there's I really like the cast in this. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and Alden Ehrenreich are really fun together. They have a really fun dynamic that's just exactly the kind of thing I like hearing in this movie. I like seeing in this movie, like, because they get saddled with this punk ass kid, who and so like they kind of like start forming this bond, and like their dialogue has nothing to do with their mission. It's stupid, and they're playing 20 questions, and I think that's fun. And Alden Ehrenreich plays a guy who was just
he's
dumped by who's widower, where his wife died.
It's sorry, one quick thing, like when they're in the car, when they're in the truck and they're driving in sight, and they're just talking about his wife who died, he's like, I think he gave her the cancer. It's like, ooh, my dad gave my wife the cancer. Like, you can't give people cancer. It's like, yeah, he can, through stress, through all this other stuff. And he's crying. He's just like an absolute mess.
Yeah, I think they're a really fun pair together. You know who I really enjoyed was the kid from Sweet Tooth. If you've seen Sweet Tooth?
I saw the first episode, but he was the kid who played Henry, right?
He played Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, no, in Cocaine Bear, he played Henry.
Yes, I don't remember anybody's names. I saw this on Monday.
Okay.
Yes, he played Henry. He's very funny in it. He has this line which is in the trailer where it's just like, I just saw a man murdered. That feels like something that's going to stick with you forever.
Yeah, the line he said in the movie is very similar to it, but he's like, I wish I could forget that, but that's something. And like even at the end of the movie, when they're walking by the carriage of the ambulance, and the mom was like, hey, don't look at that, don't look at it. He's like, I know I shouldn't, but I want to, as he's looking at the park ranger with her face half off.
I really like. So for those of you who don't know, the true story of the bear is that, you know, Pablo Escobar was. By the way, Cokie the bear was right there, people.
Cokie the bear.
Cokie the bear was right there. Who the hell named it Pablo Escobar?
I don't know.
Anyway, so this guy dumped tons of cocaine into a forest. The bear ate all of it and died immediately.
Not all of it. Well, according to the end credits of the movie, there's still cocaine out in the woods. They don't know where it is. But yeah, the bear got into about X amount of $1 million worth of cocaine, and then
and
died,
OD'd immediately.
hardcore OD'd, and died a very bad death.
So in this film, what I was really happy about was that it's a bear who has two bear cubs and lives at the end to be with their bear cubs. By the way, there's a bit where Ray, what's the actor's name? The guy who played the drug lord.
Ray Liotta.
Thank you. Where Ray Liotta like shoots the bear, and you think the bear is dead, and like the bear cubs are really upset about it, and then like the coke like sprinkles on the bear, and it's like the bear wakes up and spits out the bullet when he gets up there. It's so good.
Let's see. Mag and Grayson, they're both in the comics. Mag says he knows Ripley's Believe It or Not wants to buy the bear that inspired the movie because that bear was taxidermied and it is on display somewhere.
It's a local hero in that town. It's like in a supermarket in that town.
My God. And Grayson says sometimes gems like Cokie the bear just get left on the cutting room floor. Sad face.
I know. It's like when they do like a thing for naming a boat and most people vote for Bodie McBoatface. Like sometimes Pablo Escobar is what you go with, but Cokie the bear. Maybe somebody thinks that Pablo Escobar is a better name. I think Cokie the bear is better.
I think so too. I had something else. I think the one character who I felt like didn't really need to show up for a twist was the other cop. Yeah, the other cop.
I agree.
Yeah, because I was just like, what are you doing here? You have no ties. You showed up way too late. Are you just there just to give the dog to Alden Ehrenreich's character? I mean, okay, I guess, but other than that, I felt like she didn't really need to be in the movie for when she did show up.
Yeah, I don't mind the first cop being there because I think he's got some really funny scenes and some really and some, let's see what kind of effect that has on him. It's kind of fun, but the whole idea of this kind of revenge, of this kind of like twist, doesn't really work. It comes really late in the movie and only serves to deliver what I think is the only sad death in the movie. And in a movie where you don't really want a sad death scene, you get one. And I'm happy that the dog went to a good home, and that kind of like ties into Alden Ehrenreich's plotline. But like, you could have still had the cop be there and gift him the dog.
Yeah.
Because when he's like dying, he's like, take care of my dog. You feel for the guy, and that sucks. Like, frankly, that sucks. I don't want that in my movie.
Especially since in the beginning of the movie, he just didn't know what to do with the dog because he wanted a lab, and he sees this dog who I would say stereotypically on Hollywood is more of I don't want to say prissy, but it's a princess-ish dog. And when I say princess, I mean it is adorable, yes. But when you see that breed of dog, it's normally with a rich socialite or some, those type of characters.
Yeah, I believe it's a Shih Tzu.
Yeah, it's a very well groomed Shih Tzu, but that's when you see those type of dogs with. But the fact that throughout the movie he's actually like, when he calls the cop again, is like, hey, I never gave a proper goodbye to Rosette, and then when he's dying, he's thinking about Rosette. It's like, oh, so he does love this dog. Now he doesn't get to go home.
And it's really weird for me to say that I don't want emotional stakes in my movie, but I don't want emotional stakes in my cocaine bear movie.
We're just here for a movie about a bear that does cocaine.
I'm here to watch a bear hyped up on cocaine deliver some gruesome, brutal, funny deaths. I don't need betrayal from cop, lose my dog.
Yeah, I don't
need that.
I do like the storyline where the mom is trying to find her daughter.
I did too.
I liked the paint because when I saw the paint on the
there's
rock,
your emotional backbone of the movie. You don't need any more than that.
Yeah, and I like how that, but also I just kind of like how, I mean, because at that point, that's when I know the movie isn't taking itself too seriously, that they are having fun. Like, two kids do cocaine on screen.
Yeah, the two adolescent kids
just what the shit.
Try to eat the cocaine.
Okay. And then, of course, the kid who played Sweet Tooth goes, yeah, but what if? It's like, don't do it. And also, I kind of find it funny because they were playing a lot of the old 80s don't do drugs commercials, like Pee Wee Herman saying, this is crack, this is your brain on drugs, and all of the other bad PSAs they made in the 80s. God. But then, like, at the end of the movie, what they're talking about is like, yeah, we got to go to rehab because we're cokeheads now. Woo! They're just cracking jokes about it because, they survived Cocaine Bear.
And again, like this movie I think is really funny. There's two bear cubs that when you meet them, they're covered in cocaine. They are white bears because of all the cocaine on them.
The kid even says they look like polar bears.
Yeah, I just like that's funny. And like the bear can sense cocaine, and the bear knows that when there's a red bag around, cocaine is in that bag.
And then it just goes in it just catches up to an ambulance because it's like, there were no drugs in that bag.
Yeah, it's like, again, like the movie delivers some really funny lines, some really funny kills, and it's not taking itself seriously at all, until it does. And just that one, like, I don't mean to get hung up on the one thing, but like it's just that one thing where I'm like, I don't want to feel bad right now.
No, I wouldn't say that's a bad thing to get hung up on because really, I was enjoying the movie quite well up until that part. And then when I was driving home, thinking about it, I was like, that part didn't need to be there.
Yeah, and I think
everything about that scene, the fact that the cops dies, the fact that there's a twist, the fact that it was supposed to be a big emotional moment. I mean, I thought the big, like, air quotes emotional moment that actually was building up throughout the entire movie was when O'Shea Jackson Jr. got shot, and then all the narrators trying to keep him alive. And he's like, my 20th question, but it's Joni, isn't it? He's like, how'd you guess? He's like, dude, you're so predictable. I just wanted to keep guessing to keep the game going so he wouldn't cry at me for the whole damn day.
Yeah, like they have a really cute relationship, honestly. Like the idea that, like, we're not actually friends, we're work friends. It's like, no, you're my best friend, man. I love you. Like they're really good together, and all the pairings are really good together. Carrie Russell and Sweet Tooth are fun. The kind of journey to go off finding her daughter is good emotional backbone of the movie. There's really not a whole lot more to say other than just like if you want to go watch a movie where a bear gets hyped up on cocaine and kills a bunch of people, it's out there. The guy sitting next to me, by the way, had a great time watching this movie because the bear was like Jaws to this kid. Like when he saw the bear, because like oftentimes when you see the bear, he's just kind of like, the bear's just kind of like minding his own business, not really hunting. He's just kind of sniffing around looking for cocaine. And when he sees people, he starts to get angry. She starts to get angry. But like the dude next to me was like, "Oh, it's the bear! It's Cocaine Bear! Get out of there! It's Cocaine Bear!" It's like Jaws. I just thought it was really funny.
Yeah. I think I was pretty much it wasn't a completely empty theater, but it was an empty theater. Although I did hear some small children behind me, so that kind of got me a little like, you do
this
realize
movie is rated R. There are children doing cocaine in this movie.
Yes. Besides that, I would say that this movie, what you see is what you get. Or if you see the trailer, it's a bear that did cocaine based off a true story, minus all the people dying.
Yeah, and again, like, because like the bear, at the end of the day, by the end of the movie, you kind of are endeared to the bear. Like, you don't want anything bad to happen to the bear because now it's a mother. And so like I'm glad that the bear lived at the end and can
like the second babies. The second I saw the cubs, and the second the cubs started crying out, I'm like, don't die. Like 90% of the movie was like, wow, how are they gonna get rid of this cocaine bear? The second I saw the cubs, I'm like, no, live.
The fact that
damn it.
The fact that cocaine is like sprinkled on the bear multiple times in the movie, and like the bear is just so excited to have cocaine, just like, oh yes, give me all the coke. And then like when the bear dies, quote unquote dies, and like the cocaine sprinkles on the bear again, and she gets up and spits out the bullet. Like that's the kind of movie this needed to be 99% of the time. And unfortunately, it's only really that 90% of the time.
Yeah. Although I did like when the cop was on top of the gazebo and he ripped the brick and he's like sprinkling the cocaine.
Yeah, that was funny.
And the guy's like, it's a cocaine snowfall.
Yeah. I like the cast. I really like how it's directed. I like the bear. I had a really good time with this one. What would you rate it?
I want to say this was the first film from Elizabeth Banks that I saw, or maybe no. Did she direct Pitch Perfect too?
Let's see, because she directed something that I can't remember the name of.
I know she directed Charlie's Angels, but I don't know if she directed Pitch Perfect too.
You didn't see Charlie's Angels, did you?
I did not.
That's pretty good. Let's see. As a director, oh, excuse me. She's done a lot of shit as an actress. She's a good actor. Director, Cocaine Bear, Charlie's Angels, Pitch Perfect 2. Yes, you're correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because when it said directed by Elizabeth Banks, I was like, I did not know that. But then, of course, it starts to make sense because when people were taking pictures or spreading around on social media about, because she was at the premiere, I was like, why is Elizabeth Banks at the premiere for Cocaine Bear? And then turns out she directed it. So I'm like, okay, cool.
What was that James Gunn produced evil Superman movie?
Brightburn.
Thank you. Who the hell directed that movie?
No clue. But to answer your question on what I would rate it, I would probably rate it I rate it a 6.5, to be honest. I mean,
really? That's low.
I would still say it's good. I don't know. If the more I stew on it, I might give it a better review. But there are parts of the movie I do like. But at the same time, I just don't have a lot to say about it. It's not one of those films where it's like I do have. It's weird. It's one of those like middling movies, but I favor it a little bit more because it is just like, hey, we're here to have some fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just it didn't really like I don't want to say connect with me, but it was just one of those films where I walked out, I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not angry that I saw it, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, it's something I saw.
Ryan did send us some of his thoughts real quickly. He says, my thoughts on Cocaine Bear are it's a good time. I don't have much to say besides it was fun. I really don't have much else to add, but I really enjoyed it. I would honestly give it an 8. It's an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a solid time at the movies. It's raucously funny. It's got a really good cast who are 100% sold on the film they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a really good time. 8 out of 10, I think.
That's good. I maybe if I had a different theater experience, my rating might have changed because I was just in a theater that was mostly quiet. I was by myself. I think the closest people to me were like 2 or 5 seats down away.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not mad that I saw it. I'm glad I saw it. It was funny. I did chuckle, but it wasn't like one of those rip roaring ha ha ha. I'm laughing so hard. It's just like, oh, here comes Cocaine Bear. What's gonna happen?
Yeah, maybe it doesn't matter, but your theater experience is important.
Maybe it does. Yeah, maybe it does. But once again, I'm still glad I saw it.
All right, so that's Cocaine Bear, and we're not going to do our book club. It was Ryan's turn to do the book club this week. He unfortunately could not make the show. Rightfully so.
Ryan's window just pops up automatically. He's like, I have been summoned.
We I always hold that if you need to take a week off, you need to take a break, you take that break. This show is not worth your mental health. It is worth mine. It's not worth yours.
It's not worth yours either, bud.
We'll see. If this works, man, if this works, it's worth it. I'm kidding.
All right.
I would sooner kill myself for this show, like work myself to the bone for this show than I would for any other job I've ever had. Let me just put it that way. Okay. I like the show. I'm glad we do it. But yeah, if you gotta take a break, you gotta take a break.
Understandable.
But so his book club of Star Wars Bounty Hunter Volume 1, Galaxy's Deadliest, will be next week. Which will also see the return of our good friend Sparks Whitty.
Yay! Back from France!
Next week, you will also hear us talk about Scream 6. We're here. We did it. It's time to watch the latest entry in the Scream franchise, Scream 6.
I don't know why I'm doing the Psycho. That is Psycho. I don't know why I'm doing that one.
Cool. So, of course, stay tuned for that and other things. All right, guys. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Excuse me.
You're excused.
Make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Check out all sorts of other things. Like I mentioned up top, Conversation Season 2 is coming in April. That is, I believe, a easy enough deadline for me to meet. So stay tuned. Again, it'll be bi-weekly like it was last time, so every other week. So yeah, I'm excited for you guys to listen to it.
I'm excited to listen to it.
There are episodes that I recorded a year ago.
Oh, lordy.
That are definitely out of date, but you're getting them. Of course, you can check out more things on our YouTube channel. Mag, of course, take care of YouTube. Catch you later. YouTube.
Good night, bud.
You can check out more things on our YouTube channel, such as Fake Nerds Watch. Look, actually, a lot of these shows are video and audio, such as Fake Nerds Watch. Our latest, our audio feed is down below. If you want to check that out, our video, plenty of video stuff you can check out as well. Basement Arcade, which is our video game Let's Play series. That's not on audio because it would defeat the purpose of playing a video game and hearing and
But pause menu is audio.
Pause menu is audio. Basement Arcade pause menu also an audio and video. You can check that out if you on this channel. Fake Nerd Book Club. Hopefully we can bring that back this year. There's some talks about it, so stay tuned. Animation Station. New episode of Animation Station. Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur with Ryan and Sparks. Check that out. Link below. Audio and video. Fake Nerd Cinephiles, which are our new brand things that have just been entered into the Cinephiles are Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Scream 3 and 4, and Scream 5. Again, like this video, subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to support us financially, you can check us out on Patreon or TeePublic, which are linked below. We greatly appreciate all you get. We greatly appreciate all of your support, just watching or listening. Liking is a big deal. Like, definitely like these things. It helps us out a lot. But if you'd like to support us financially, they're there, TeePublic and Patreon. You can find all the links for everything in the description below, or at fakenerdpodcast.com, where you can find links to everything. It's a homepage for everything. I actually haven't put Cinephiles in there yet. It's coming. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who watches the live show. Thank you to everyone who watches the replay. We greatly appreciate all of your support. We love you guys. We love doing the show. We love you guys popping up in the chat. It's a great time. Thank you to Jeremy Bellucci for all of our musical themes that you heard here tonight, and for all of our musical themes that you've heard on all of our other shows. And a secret third thing that I cannot mention right now, but it's coming. And I'm excited about it too. You can find him on Instagram at Jeremy Bellucci Keyboards. Nope, at Jeremy Bellucci _Wreck of Time. I gotta fix that. I gotta change that. At Jeremy Bellucci _Wreck of Time, or his podcast Suburban Proctologist on Instagram. At Subproc Podcast, Facebook, Suburban Proctologist Official. Of course, you can find it on iTunes. Subscribe to it if you'd like. Thank you to Mike Matola. Mike Matola is a wonderful human being who does a couple of our logos and has collaborated with us on many things. You can find him at Mike Matola on Instagram and TikTok. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, I'm a BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. I also write for CBR.com, AtomicGeekdom.com, and KaijuRamaMedia.com. Ben?
You can find me becoming a dice goblin by buying more dice sets at BenMagnet27 on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also find me writing for Old School Gamer Magazine, Fusion Gaming Magazine, and GoNintendo.com, as well as playing Mary Frankenstein in D&D Dark, which is a Dungeons & Dragons real play podcast that you can find on all your podcasting networks, and new episodes come out on Wednesdays.
Nice. You can also find our good friends Sparks Witty at Sparks Witty, SPIRKZ Witty on Instagram and Twitter, and Ryan Eliopoulos at DJ Tony Snark on Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcast, and Pandora. Rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Until next time we see us, guys. Stay fake nerds. Stay fake nerds.